day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. How the heck are you? Do you know what today is?
Hump day!
It is hump day. I know. We were so excited about that.
Were we?
No, not really, but it sounds good.
Yesterday went fast.
That means today is going to be unbearably long.
Does it? Is that what that means?
I hope not. I hope that's never how it feels. That would make me so sad. But no, I agree with you. It did go fast yesterday. You know, before we even get started, I want to tell you something that I tried yesterday, and I've had it and I've used it and I forgot about it. You know, when we get older, the stuff that we put on our skin really tends to matter, right? And you've heard me talk about tulip blooms. And I know a lot of you have tried tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. And they've got a great deal going on in their rainfall line of lotions and skin moisturizers. They're just magnificent. So if you get two, the second one is 50% off, which is great. And then there's a 10% discount with my name. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on. But I tried something last night that I think you're really going to enjoy. And I just wanted to put it on your radar because it's light, but it works and it's magnificent. I use a warm washcloth, right? A wet, warm washcloth to take off my makeup. And then I put a squirt of this. This is their cleanser from Tulip Blooms on it. And I gently go over my eyes where mascara is and my mouth where my lipstick is. And it comes off like that. And it doesn't dry out your skin. Even if you put on no moisturizer after the fact, your skin feels beautiful afterwards and totally clean. And for somebody who puts on makeup 74 times a day, because it's just what I do, this is important to me. If you want wonderfully clean skin, try their cleanser. It is just magnificent. It says the Serene Gel Cleanser, and it's part of they've got aloe and cucumber in it, which is just like, oh, come on now.
Would it work for dirt too?
It would work for anything. Yeah. If you put it in your hand, you wash your face, put it in your hand. Yes, it's beautiful. And it's not like a super sudsy thing. It's sort of like, and then if you put that blue calm stuff on top of it after you wash it off, I'm just saying their products are phenomenal. I'm really digging this line of skincare products. And I think you will too. And they've got great deals going right now. So tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. And I appreciate you guys trusting me, but it's one of those things where I don't think we really splurge on ourselves on things like that. You'll buy it for somebody else, but you probably won't buy it for yourself. Why? You deserve
When's your odor coming out?
You deserve it. When is my fragrance? I don't know. We haven't spoken about it in a couple weeks.
Fragrance, odor, same thing.
I think that, no, it's not the same thing. An odor is something that smells.
So is a scent.
A fragrance, that's not what you said. A fragrance is a scent. An odor.
Which you smell.
An odor is.
Which you smell.
Okay, whatever. You want to play semantics with me, English boy? That's fine.
What?
So Brock and I just listened to a bunch of this CIA whistleblower. Have you guys paid attention to it? And if you didn't, Brock snagged a couple of the audio clips. It's John Brennan's comment to Nicole Wallace yesterday is much more relevant in my mind today after listening to some of this whistleblower testimony.
So someone in the comments after the show had put, I hope you guys go back and read these comments. I don't every day. I did yesterday. I know you do every once in a while too. But can I ask a question for the comment section?
Yeah.
What? Now, he's not going to go to jail. He's not going to be executed or anything like that. What would be as MAGA, what would you be okay punishment wise
for Tony
Fauci? Minus the jail, minus the, everything out. What I personally think pulling his pension and leaving him disgraced, I would take that. Just knowing there was some kind of accountability.
Everybody who walks by and sees you knows that you're a dirtbag. It's a scene in The Princess Bride.
Put it in the comment section.
If you know the scene in The Princess Bride, tell me in the comment section, and I will love you.
Well, wow. For a comment?
Mm-hmm. It's
I
something
can't say that I'll love you for a comment.
It's something Wesley says. Mm-hmm.
Never seen it.
In The Princess Bride. What does Wesley say? Princess Bride about keeping ears. What about Dr. Burks? Yeah, she was a zero scarf wearing opportunist. Opportunist. Like, honestly, what would it take you to get up and stand in front of the freaking world and lie to them? Like, what would it take? I'm super needing to keep this.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at me.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we are converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Happy hump day to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. And welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program, where we give you honest conservatism. It is not complicated. It is just good old-fashioned common sense. And it's amazing how little of that seems to be circulating in Washington, D.C. these days. Have you guys been paying attention to this CIA whistleblower, this career CIA officer named James Erdman? Just testified before a Senate panel. And we got some audio for you out of the gates that you have to hear, because I've said it to you so many times. Never forget what they did to you. And that is what we're going to talk about today, as we rebuild America in the likeness of the old Make America Great Again idea. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. I'm delighted you're here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. I'm a bad liar. Always been a bad liar. Didn't figure out I was a bad liar until I bad lied myself into enough spankings and timeouts and groundings as a child, and ultimately you learn your lesson and you're like, maybe if I just tell the truth, things will go a little bit more swimmingly for me. And it's amazing what happens when you start telling the truth. We started telling the truth when we started asking questions on Palm Sunday 2020. And we lost our jobs over it, ladies and gentlemen. When I said, you know what, I'm kind of weird, kind of feel a little on the fence today. We've been in this COVID lockdown again. This is April 2020. We've been in this lockdown for a couple of weeks. It doesn't make sense. I'm watching people who are normal people who I love, educated, rational, reasonable people lose their ever-loving minds. And you and I sat back and we were watching and we were like, what the heck is going on? And then we watched tyrannical little governors wield their wands of emergency power. And we got to see this monster grow on Frankenstein's table. You're like, what happened to you people? And they became intoxicated on this newfound celebrity. Like, we're going to break into programming and tell you everything that's going on about COVID. And a lot of it was a freaking lie. And we knew it was a lie. And we told you it was a lie. And you knew it was a lie. And now it's coming out. Oh, yeah, about that. It was a lie. Why were they lying to us? Why couldn't they just tell us out of the gates? It was a virus. We were doing some stuff to it we shouldn't have been doing. But we didn't expect it to get out of this lab. And it did. And now it's all over the place. And we got to figure this crap out. So let's get the smartest minds on the planet. No, they saw a crisis and they turned it into an opportunity. And you were the guinea pig. You were the lab rat. You were the financier of it all. Isn't that amazing? You pay for it and you get boned by it. And then they lie to you and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's get some audio from this gentleman, career CIA officer, whistleblower. He was tasked by Tulsi Gabbard and a team, and he was the head of this team at the Department of National Intelligence, right? And he's working to uncover the lies of the origin of COVID. Like, we all don't know already it came from a freaking lab. And that we don't know that the bat lady, Xi Jinping, and all the other stuff about it. Oh, they had bad security measures. You get out, really? And it was really close to this wet market where they tried to tell you what happened, right? This guy gets up, testifies before this panel. And I want you to hear a couple of his audio sound bites. In this one, he's like, look, I can tell you without equivocation, I know from my investigation that the intelligence community downplayed the lab leak idea, and then they covered it up. You know why? Because Tony freaking Fauci inserted himself in the entire debacle. Audio soundbite number 1, CIA officer James Erdman.
Intelligence community leaders and senior analysts downplayed the possibility that the COVID pandemic originated as a result of a lab incident. Motives are difficult to define given the scope of the DIG's review. Intentional or not, the IC's actions resulted in a cover-up, wasted resources, and a failure to properly inform policymakers. Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA products being mandated by the former administration. Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-up was intentional. Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process and findings by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists. This included some of the authors of the paper, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2, and other public health experts who have been in his orbit for the last 20-plus years.
Who was the top paid federal employee, made more than Joe Biden did, who was pretending to be president of the United States. The guy who oversaw $10 billion in grant money for the NIAID. The guy, because he held the keys to the cash, was able to dangle in front of, truth-telling scientists. I wouldn't tell the truth if I were you. Doesn't look like your research is going to get published if you do. Catch my drift, and then all of a sudden, what do you have? 51 former intelligence officers swear the Hunter Biden laptops are fake. 17 Nobel laureates in economics. Whatever they tell you is always a lie. And Fauci was the guy who made it happen. That rat-fink scoundrel. Audio soundbite number 2. This is Rand Paul asking this witness, again, a career CIA official, about the changing of the origins of COVID. The CIA is the one who did it. Somewhere, the legion of people that John Brennan told Nicole Wallace yesterday, we've still got them in place at the Department of Justice. Don't you worry about it. Sounds like he's telling the truth. Listen to this.
But your conclusion is that changing from the scientific consensus of it being from a lab to a neutral position by the CIA was significantly influenced by Anthony Fauci?
It was significantly influenced by Anthony Fauci's injecting himself into the IC. And to go to the second part of your question about what happened, particularly during the 90-day study, we have documentation that shows that as of August 12th, the CIA was considering calling this a lab leak, August 12th of 2021. And then that changed on August 17th of 2021. Right. And unfortunately, because the CIA would not provide us documentation that we asked for, we have no idea why that changed. And that's...
And they weren't alone, because we know the FBI was coming to the same conclusion that it was lab leak, as well as the FBI.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, anybody with a functioning cerebral cortex knew it was a freaking lab leak. Oh no, it was a bird. Really? Senator Paul, you do not know what you were talking about. No, we all know what we're talking about. You jerk. Never forget what they did to you. Never forget what he did to you. Never forget. Now, this is interesting because in front of this Senate panel, you would think everybody would want to know the truth. 15 million people died. 10 million of them what? Here in America? Whatever it is. We lost a ton of people. Well, yeah, let's just move on. Guess who didn't even show up for this gentleman's testimony? Let's listen to Bill Maloogian on Fox News with Harris.
You could see over the left shoulder of Senator Ron Johnson the empty seats of Democrats, and we could show, I mean, look at that room. And even James Erdman, who is the whistleblower witness today, was asked about, and I believe it was Senator, yes, Bernie Moreno, who asked him this, how does that make you feel knowing that those Democrats aren't there? And he says that, of course, I wish that they were. I mean, you want everyone to know what he has to say. What is the take on his role on this, though, from Democrats? I know you said that there might have been kind of a joke moment with one of them, but they can't completely ignore this.
Well, they are ignoring it, apparently, Harris. We'd love to ask them what they think about this testimony, but they're not here. They're not in the room. And the witness has given some pretty interesting testimony so far. You know, he's part of the CIA, active member CIA. He said that in August of 2021, the intelligence community was ready to basically declare that this the COVID-19 pandemic began as a leak from that Chinese lab in Wuhan. And then the witness says that Dr. Anthony Fauci injected himself into those discussions, into the intelligence community, and was able to influence those conversations and get that classification changed from the potential lab leak theory to just a neutral theory. So we'll see what else he says in there today.
Yeah, but Democrats won't pay attention to it. Why wouldn't you show up? Do you not care about the people you browbeat? Do Democrats in Congress not care about the people who died because they didn't ask critical questions and then they just decide to no show? Where the hell are you? What are you doing? Are you communicating about the Save America Act? Is that what you're doing? Because that's about the only excuse I would accept right now. On live television for the world to see who is for you and who's against you. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you know, Democrats cannot win for losing. Harry Enton forced to call it a slip in enthusiasm for Democrats to regain control of the House. Why ever would that be? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Right? Okay, so I don't understand why the Affordable Care Act had to have open enrollment periods. Why do you have to have a period of time that you have to get and slide in and get overpriced insurance that doesn't allow you to keep your doctor, that didn't allow you to keep your insurance, that certainly didn't save you any money? Why do you have to then squeeze yourself into this little pigeonhole where you've got this finite amount of time to be like, oh my God, hurry up, I've got to get it. And then you're like, what did I get? I don't know, but they say you got to do it. So good luck with that. No, there's a better way, and it's called Health Revolution. It's called Health Revolution. info.healthrevolution.net. I want you to write that down. info.healthrevolution.net. I'm going to read this to you. The open enrollment for the 2026 Obamacare Marketplace Health Insurance Plan. It's begun with monthly premiums increasing as much as 40% and deductible options climbing over $10,000. Is that affordable to you? No. That is why Health Revolution says get in touch with us. We're going to give you a private insurance plan. You're going to be in charge of it. You decide what kind of coverage you want. You decide what you don't want. It's all at your fingertips, not somebody jamming it down your throat. You can save 30 to 60%. No copays, reasonable deductibles. Yes, keep your doctor. Choose your own doctor. And families are saving a ton of money. Again, for people like my oldest son, Michael, who's 26 and he's off the family insurance plan. info.healthrevolution.net. 800-868-6187. You have nothing to lose and a lot of money to save. Lot to save. info.healthrevolution.net. 800-868-6187. Can you believe that? Deductibles over $10,000? What? And what kind of quality health care are you getting? You getting great health care? Are you getting riding in to see your doctor? We'll see you next Tuesday. Right. We'll see you in September. That's what it is. Oh,
Mine's
perfect.
$7,500. And I got one of the better plans.
So you have to pay $7,500 out of pocket before you get any kind of coverage.
Yeah.
Mm.
So basically, I have to pay 3/4 of my entire, what do you call it, premium before I could even think about.
Doesn't it make you hate everybody?
Yeah.
Kind of makes you hate everybody. Like, I feel that way. We're going to motor through. Brock he kind of threw down the gauntlet today.
Yeah.
He's like, there's a lot of sound today. I don't know if we're going to get through it all. And I was like, I think we can probably.
Well, you like to go on tangents, which I actually appreciate. I'd rather take sound and you go off on tangents and not use the sound.
Because I'm fabulous.
No, because it's authentic and real.
If you don't,
See?
You know, Harry Anton is admitting, as much as he can't want to say it, at least, the Democrats are really crapping the bed here. They're not selling anything that people are buying. And there's this congressional, who do you want? Who do you want to take over in the midterms? Who do you want to regain control, take control of Congress? And in March, it was Democrats by 6 points. So they say. I have no idea who out there would be like, yeah, everything the Democrats are doing, I love it. It's so great. Let's get more. I don't know anybody. Everybody's like, these people suck. And I'm like, yeah, they do. And Harry Anton's kind of glomming onto that a little bit. I broke this out. I had Brock break it up into 3 chunks. And he says, look, what's going to be the next scare, essentially, to keep you guys home and cheated? Because Harry says they need something. Americans' choice for Congress back in March had Democrats picking up 6 seats and regaining control of the House. It's not looking so super duper anymore. Let's listen.
But I think this poll serves as a big-time reality check for Democrats, and that is, it ain't over yet, especially with the redistricting when we look ahead to the 2026 race for Congress. You would have thought that the Democrats' lead would expand on the generic congressional ballot. It didn't happen. Look, in March, Democrats were up by 6 points. Look at this now. Democrats are up by 3 points, and I want you to note the yellow lettering. No clear leader. It is within the margin of error. So despite all of the talk about Donald Trump's unpopularity, the fact is Republicans very much remain in the game when it comes to the congressional midterms, which are occurring in, 6 or 7 months at this point?
All the talk about Donald Trump's unpopularity. Who's talking about that? I'm not talking about that. I'm not hearing people talk about that. Are you talking about that? I'm loving what's going on. I'm loving all of it. Harry continues, if the generic congressional ballot now shows Democrats with a lead of only 3, and if you think about midterms, there's usually a flip of power with whomever is the president. It's the other party that typically takes control of the House in the midterms. Is this going to seal the midterms for the Democrats and let them retake control of the House? And he's like, no. Listen.
Okay, take a look here. Democrats in the national House vote margin. According to my estimate, what they need for control with redistricting in terms of the national popular vote is somewhere of a win between 3 and 4 points. What's CNN's current poll with no clear leader? It's a 3-point advantage. If this were, in fact, the actual result come Election Day, the race for Congress, the race for the House, would be basically a toss-up. And that is why the redistricting efforts that have been happening are so important, because before the redistricting happened, Democrats essentially just needed to win the National House popular vote in order to win control of the House of Representatives. But now, with the redistricting, their ladder, they have to climb ever higher, and a 3-point win may very well not do it. This is well within the realm of possibilities. Could be Democrats take back the House. You know, if Democrats outperform the CNN poll by a few points, they take it back. But they could underperform as well, and that would be big-time trouble. As I said at the start here, this game is most certainly not over. Republicans very much in the race for the House of Representatives. They're in that game.
Isn't it amazing that the Democrats' eggs were in the basket of gerrymandering, to cheat, to steal, to win? I mean, that's what they were banking on. That's why they had to carve out all of those paths for racially distinct districts, for representation, which is wholly divisive. They were banking on that. That's how they were banking on winning, not because of their ideas, not because they're fabulous people, not because they tell you the truth, not because they give a rip, because they rigged the system. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, let's unrig that. Now they're like, what? And Harry finishes up by saying, well, you know, Trump's approval is so low, the lowest of his presidency, apparently. So how are Democrats doing so poorly in these projections? I don't know.
Look, we talk about, economic approval rating for the president. We talk about the net approval rating among registered voters. If we look among registered voters, the net approval rating, he's 36 points under. Where to go? There's no way Republicans could possibly hold on to the House. But look at this. Which party is trusted more in the economy? It's a tie among registered voters. Just because Donald Trump is unpopular doesn't make Democrats popular. And when you match Democrats against Republicans, all of a sudden it is a dead heat.
Oftentimes, Republicans enjoy an advantage on the economy, though, so tide may not be great for them, but still a huge disparity there between these two numbers. All right, we're talking about Democrats' chances maybe not as big as they were a few weeks ago. What are the chances? A few weeks ago, I think we were saying Republicans, they could get blown out.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's, I think, the other thing. Even if Republicans don't hold on to Congress, look, the chance of a blowout, that has shrunk considerably. Look at the cash prediction market. Chance that the GOP wins under 193 seats, you need 218 for control in the 2026 midterms. A month ago, it was a 48% chance they won under 193 seats. Now it's just 19%. So basically, Republicans have shifted the playing field. They're in the game, and the chance of a Democratic blowout, that is way, way down.
Think about how ridiculously beneficial this is for the GOP, right? They're not siphoning money off of Act Blue and USAID. They're not funneling and money laundering through NGOs and fake victims and schemes. We're not benefiting from that. The GOP is slaughtered every single day with a barrage of fake news headlines. 95% of the news about this president is negative. They have to selectively edit him to make him sound the way you want him. They want you to believe he is. They have to lie and cheat and edit and fake and fudge and cover up and scheme in order to get their way. Now, honestly, Harry Enten wants to tell me that Donald Trump's approval is at the lowest of his presidency. If this is what losing is like, shoot. Pinch me. I'll take it all day long. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, LA's got a serious issue. Mayor Karen Bass is getting her butt handed to her by Spencer Pratt. Oh my, it's so delicious. It's next. I love it. I love watching him. Absolutely. And all these other groups that are coming up and putting out these AI memes about her.
It's dangerous.
It's yeah. You could see this is, I think Spencer Pratt he's taking the can opener and he's the first one to go and puncture the seal of showing what you can do with artificial intelligence. And it is scary. It is scary because they could make you out to be anything. You could create anything. Which is interesting because I got a call today from a conservative friend of ours who apparently has developed an AI tool that can transform fake news headlines into actual real news. And I'm fascinated by it. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. It's just crazy what's going on out there. All right, let's talk about Blood Flow 7. Let's read you some testimonials because I sit here and I gush about it. I tell you that I don't want to I don't mind necessarily looking older. I mean, I want to look good for whatever age I am. I'm not chasing some elusive, fountain of youth. I just want to slow it down a little bit, right? Just tap the brakes a touch if I can. Blood Flow 7 is one of those things that helps me because I can tell you in 48 hours after I started taking it, the nitric oxide, which is in the capsule that you take, in a couple hours dramatically improves the amount of blood flow through your body because it relaxes your blood vessels, meaning more blood goes through. And you notice it. You notice it with your focus. You notice it with your strength, with your stamina, with your energy, with all of it. And it really is something that makes you feel young inside. And attitude's 90% of it, I'm going to say. I'm 65. I've been having trouble with my blood pressure and having energy since I had COVID back in 2021. I was losing hope that I would ever get better, but I've been listening to your show every day for about a year now, and I always rumble. Since you were having good results with Blood Flow 7, I decided to order it, and I got the 4 months on subscription, praying that it would actually work for me. For the couple weeks in the beginning, I really didn't notice anything different, so I was starting to doubt my decision. Yesterday was our annual Christmas tree hunting day where we go into the mountains and pick and cut our tree. We were hiking up and down several mountains, and I was, for the first time since 2021, able to join my family in this. I was very surprised. I was able to keep up with everyone. I've been checking my blood pressure, and it's now staying around 127 over 84. My mind has been clearer, and I have hope back. Thank you for all you do.
Can I tag on you?
Yeah.
Right there. Someone said in the chat yesterday, order Blood Flow 7's, I don't know, something rumbled their name. Ordered Blood Flow 7 the first day the product was recommended, has enabled me to tolerate dialysis sessions. Before Blood Flow 7, blood pressure would drop to unsafe levels. With the product, blood pressure in normal range has been a life changer. 73 years old. Thanks for the recommendation.
I'm telling you, and how
Yancey Rumble.
Thank you. I know that name. I know you. I see you. I see you here quite commonly. S. Yancey, thank you. This is what it looks like. And I take 2 capsules a day. It says it's a dietary supplement. Yes, of course. But it's so affordable. And when you go to bloodflow7.com/Wendy, the Alpha Gold Male, which is a phenomenal formula for men, it takes into account that you're different than I am, but men can take Blood Flow 7 as well.
I do.
Brock does. I'm sorry. It works. 30% off. It's less than $1 a day, literally to change. And I told you it was walking up this really steep hill in the park by my house. And Murphy can run up it even at 10. He's almost 10. And he can run up it, no big deal. And I normally have to stop halfway, and I'm moderately fit. But it's like, and I walked straight up. Now I was huffing and puffing at the top, breathing, but I wasn't dead. I kept walking and I didn't stop. That's when I was like, oh boy, that in the gym, because you just notice it. You start to lift better, more weight, more reps, less exhaustion, and you sleep like a boulder. Not a rock. You sleep like a boulder. Just going to say bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I think Gary Ireland is bequeathing to me 2 giant, fabulous tarps he doesn't want me to give up. I have him sitting outside in the little patio area for him, and he never came and picked him up.
Well, I'll just come by and take them.
You want to grab those
and
tarps?
And then you can be like, Gary, they were there.
They're wonderful, too. They're super big and
I
fantastic.
Bet.
I'm sure they're expensive. Come on, Gary Ireland, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. So Gary and his team of Amish installers, Amish Mennonite, whatever the heck they are, they're phenomenal carpenters at IrelandContracting.com. Walk like cats on my roof, replaced 8 of my 10 skylights because they needed to be replaced, and put on a brand new roof, fixed everything up, fixed all my problems, and picked up all of the mess. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. It's just that simple. Get a free estimate. They'll come to your house. They'll tell you what it's going to cost. Then you decide. How nice is that? And there's not a lot of bells and whistles with him. It is what it is, right? There's no like wheeling and dealing. Well, it's like, this is what I would do to my house. This is what I'm going to do to your house. And I guarantee you it's going to be great. Okay. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com.
Wait till you hear the one soundbite in this segment.
Uh-oh, who are you talking about?
The best buyers. When I sent to you, you're like,
Oh,
wow,
she's
how am I
phenomenal.
gonna fit this in?
Yeah, we will have to fly here on some of this stuff, but
I think that's the mind-boggling. So in your face.
of politics. How in the world would this guy think he could roll onto the scene of LA's mayoral race and think he has any bit of a chance? You know how? He's tired. He lost everything he has. He's tired of being lied to. He's tired of being taxed. He's tired of being fleeced. He's tired of being stolen from. And you know what? 6,000 of his closest neighbors freaking agree. Because where they live isn't where they're supposed to live. And Karen Bass's fingerprints are all over the debacle. Spencer Pratt is absolutely freaking out. Karen Bass, who says his most recent ads, by the way, they're very dangerous. They seem to talk a lot about violence. There's some very dangerous rhetoric going on there. Dangerous, like a crematorium style inferno rolling across the hills and killing people and burning everything in its sight. Is that dangerous? I think that's a little more dangerous. And she's got no comeback for it. There's no ad touting Karen Bass. Let's talk about what she's done. Make everything better in California. She gives drug addicts free needles. And now she's talking about a program to give meth heads free cosmetic dental care. Oh, yeah. Dentures for meth heads, because meth make your teeth fall out. Make your teeth fall out. That's what she's doing. That's the story going on with Karen Bass. I want you guys to hear some of these ads, though, because they're freaking brilliant. In this one, I'm blistering Spencer Pratt. And again, using artificial intelligence, this is the first time I think we're really seeing such a great use of AI, which is borderline terrifying what it can do, right? And this is what he says about Karen Bass, Spencer Pratt does, about Karen Bass enabling drug use by giving addicts needles. We're not going to clean up the area. We're not going to arrest people. We're not going to get them into care. We're just going to give them free needles so they can do it. And we'll say that that's like humanitarian. Let's listen.
Last week, local and federal agents swarmed MacArthur Park in a sweeping drug raid called Operation Free MacArthur Park.
The place notoriously known for open illegal drug use.
It led to the arrest of more than a dozen people and the seizure of nearly 40 pounds of fentanyl and also meth.
Fentanyl, meth, drugs, there's criminal activity going on here. They're doing it out in front. It's happening every day.
So you see actually the city paying for people to drive around, hand out needles and pipes and other things to use drugs.
It comes 4 times a day, hands out needles. People actually come here and wait for that truck to arrive. They come as far as Torrance.
I see them enabling drug use.
It might as well be a black hearse. That's what they're doing to the poor people here. Our mayor is not capable, and she doesn't want to address this issue. And we have people in harm's way dying. There was a body that they found yesterday.
Somebody died the day of the raid. We had to delay our raid by about 20 minutes because somebody died from an overdose.
And these people are tied to wheelchairs. They're tied to anything heavy and thrown into the lake.
That is not humane, and I don't care how many studies you cite me, you're never going to persuade me that it's better to let people shoot themselves up with fentanyl.
Narcan only affects people that are on opioids. Meth is not an opioid. Crack is not an opioid. Those are the drugs of choice. Plus, they're all being mixed for a much higher, powerful drug.
How many beds you give these people, they are on super meth.
And the thing about these drugs, they're so powerful. Once you're hooked, you're hooked. And the only thing you care about is getting more and more and more, and something has to break that.
These people do not want a bed. They want fentanyl or super meth.
The Narcan's an excuse to distribute the needles. Someone is making money in City Hall on the distribution of the needles.
Councilwoman Robbins' plan for treatment first, I will go below the Harbor Freeway tomorrow with her, and we can find some of these people she's going to offer treatment for. But she's going to get stabbed in the neck.
The mayor should get on board and say, we've got a problem, admit it. Instead, she's trying to say things are improving. It's just the opposite. Things are getting worse.
Holy smokes. Now, you could say that the music is pretty annoying, and I would agree with you. However, you can't stop watching. You can't stop the scene. The zombie apocalypse. The people frozen, bent over. Karen Bass's strategy. Make sure they have fresh needles. I mean, we don't want anybody getting hepatitis as they're living with typhus and other medieval diseases. Then Spencer Pratt, the GOP mayoral candidate in LA, he uses AI to his greatest advantage and creates a smaller ad of Karen Bass, allegedly touting her accomplishments. Let's check it out.
I'm Karen Bass, and I'm running on my accomplishments.
Los Angeles on fire, mayor nowhere to be found.
We were so prepared for wildfires. I didn't even have to be in the country when the town burned. I've addressed the homeless problem. Now, most of them won't stab you as long as you don't make eye contact. Our climate change policy is so strong, we've brought down energy use in the Palisades by 99%. Almost none of the needles in children's playgrounds have AIDS on them. If you like the last 4 years, you're going to love the next 4. Vote Bass.
It would be funny if it was funny, but it's not. And even Harold Ford Jr. yesterday on the 5, filling in for toxic liberal whack job Jessica Tarlov, he has to admit on the panel that Spencer Pratt has found the secret sauce. He gives practical solutions when typical politicians don't.
Last week, the shine is coming off the California dream. I don't disagree with anything Kennedy has said. I think Spencer Pratt, I was wrong last week. I went back and watched the debate. I didn't think he offered as many, and you had got into it a little bit. I think you were right. I was wrong. He offered a lot. He offered, you never admit anything. He offered a lot. What he's doing is what every politician should do, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Offer real, practical, actionable solutions to actual problems that people are facing. The young lady you just showed in our opening, the city councilman, she's reading from a national playbook that just says attack Trump and hopefully Democrats. That's what will excite Democrats. I'm here to tell you that may be part of it, but at the end of the day, Angelenos understand that homelessness is a problem. They understand that public safety is a problem. They understand that housing is unaffordable for most Californians and most Angelenos. And whether you like this guy or not, whether you think he may be close to Trump or not close to Trump, I give him a lot of credit. He's tackling this in an unorthodox, unusual way for today's politics, which should be the norm. He's actually offering answers. I say that as a Democrat. So Democrats running in this race, if you don't start offering answers, this guy could very well surprise. Jesse and I agreed last week. He could actually win this thing, even though Los Angeles is such a heavily Democratic place, because people are fed up with the answers that are not being given.
Not only do Democrats not have answers, they're the cause of the problems, Harold. That's the cause. They facilitate it, and they grift off of the chaos that is ensuing. Period. So where's Karen Bass's defense? Where's she? Where's her offense? Why would you want to vote for this woman? Well, there is none, but there is this. There's a journalist out there named Bess Byers. She works for Reason magazine. She's darling, and she does this amazing dig into this whole fixing homelessness crusade in Los Angeles. And she finds Karen Bass in the middle of this monster money laundering operation. Here's how it works. A racial justice nonprofit called the Weingart Center gets $875,000 per unit from taxpayers in California to build these 3 big skyscrapers to house the homeless. The CEO of this nonprofit has close ties to Karen Bass. Karen Bass put him, the nonprofit CEO, on the LA County Affordable Housing Solutions Board. You know what that means? So he approves the money that he gets. And then he gives some back to Karen Bass. Here is Best Buyers with a blistering expose of homeless grifting in LA at its worst.
Will taxpayers be forced to pay $865,000 an apartment for a shady racial justice nonprofit that can't even pass an audit? That is the Weingart Center. Well, their main campus anyway, here on Skid Row. They're a nonprofit advancing racial, social, and economic justice by helping the homeless. Since 2013, Kevin Murray has been their president and CEO, and he must do a great job because he makes about $400,000 a year. In 2024, LA Mayor Karen Bass, who he served with in the California State Legislature, even appointed him to the LA County Affordable Housing Solutions Board. So now he's on the board that oversees homeless funding. Got it. No conflict of interest here. Now, the Weingart Center manages multiple properties, and there's more in the works. So they have a guy on their team named Ben Rosen. He's the director of real estate development, and in September 2025, Mayor Bass appointed him to the LA County Affordable Housing Solutions Board as Murray's backup, apparently at his request. To fund all these projects, the Weingart Center gets a boatload of money. I'm talking $100 million in 1 year alone. And some of that money comes from California's Home Key Initiative. It was a program created during the pandemic to quickly convert hotels and other buildings into housing for the homeless. To date, California has dumped almost $4 billion into the program, despite an estimated 71% of home key properties being vacant and reports of fraud, like one affordable housing developer charging $2 million on his personal Amex for things like Coachella tickets. Now, most people might view this as a wake-up call, but since California is asleep at the wheel, they actually expanded the program with Home Key Plus, which Weingart wanted $37 million from. This money would fund their new Torrance property, a 122-room hotel converted into permanent housing. Weingart would make over $2 million in developer fees and get a subsidy to run it. The only problem? The property was valued between $10 and $21 million, not the $30 million being asked. So after a slew of questions and public backlash, they scrapped that project. But they had one more raising eyebrows and 9 felony charges. Weingart planned to turn this Cheviot Hills nursing home into supportive housing. They'd used $26 million from Home Key to fund it, and lucky for them, Mayor Bass played a big role in recommending it for grants. Murray signed documents for the deal, which included a confidentiality clause for the developer, but everyone would find out it's Stephen Taylor after the deal became part of a federal investigation. Apparently, he altered bank statements and lied to his lender while contracting with Weingart to flip the property for over double the asking price. And honestly, it's surprising Weingart got any funding at all, considering they've repeatedly failed to comply with federal audit requirements. But that didn't stop Mayor Bass from giving them a $9 million no-bid contract. By November 2025, Murray and Rosen got placed on leave, but taxpayers could still be on the hook through Section 8 housing vouchers for a possible $1 billion to fund their 3 skyscrapers, which cost up to $865,000 per apartment. So with deals like this, why would anyone want to solve homelessness?
Oh my goodness gravy. Is there anything out there that is not a grift? You know, you and I wonder, how does everybody seem to get so wealthy? How does Gavin Newsom on a $200,000 salary as governor? How do you have the ability to buy an $11 million house? How are you able to do these things? Because you and I couldn't. Well, now you know. There is an endless supply of money that can come in, particularly when nobody's paying attention. And then somebody pays attention. Oh, snap. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, did you see the TV interview that completely ended Xavier Becerra? Oh, yeah. Becerra, who wants to be governor of California. Yeah, not anymore. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Don't you love how that's exactly what they said Trump did?
Overinflated his businesses, and then they're like, well, wait a minute, you think Mar-a-Lago's worth $20 million? Are you out of your mind? And everybody laughed, and they're like, nope, that's what it's worth. You're like, what? What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know. I'm drinking Dr. Gundry's MCT Wellness. That's what I'm doing today because I do it every single day. And it's one of those things that you do, part of your schedule that I do, especially as I sit here for 3 hours. Essentially, Brock and I are here for 5.5 a day. And in that time, we really don't eat. I really don't eat. And so it's nice to have something that absolutely crushes my hunger destroys any kind of food nag, like, you want Skittles now, and allows me to focus on what I'm doing here with you. And that's this, Dr. Gundry's MCT Wellness. You can get it by going to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. And why I say that is because this is how Dr. Gundry lost 70 pounds. So you have significant weight to lose. It's amazing how not eating 3 meals a day and not snacking endlessly throughout the day can help you lose significant weight. This is what Dr. Gundry offers. You're already drinking water. Why wouldn't you just take a scoop of it and put it in your water and be like, that's delicious, and then not eat for 4 or 5 hours? Bang, 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 bang. That's what it does. I love it. I think it's delicious, and I would recommend it 100%. Great discount. I think it's 20% if you're a first-time buyer. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. That's how I roll.
/
/ And they made you a / Brock. So if we wanted it, we could do a shirt that said / Wendy and / Brock.
No, just a / Wendy. / Brock means nothing.
Mm-hmm. They felt sorry for you because you'd say you weren't invited or something pathetic like that. So just, how's everybody? Let's see how we're doing. 1.54. That's not going to get us to the 2,000 Rumble mark. 460 people. That is everybody over on X right now. 219 breaking the internet, hopping over and giving us that thumbs up. If you haven't, thank you. Demand a thought. Perhaps I said that I'm not going to be here on Friday. That's not true. We will be here. We will be here. I think the only day that we really have coming up that's going to be wonky for you guys is going to be the 3rd of July. And that's because I'm going to fly home and see my dad. And so Brock will be off as well. And we will run a best of show for our radio station affiliates, but we will not be here. So just for planning purposes, not like you guys care, but maybe you do care. Like us.
I appreciate Demanda trying to get me a day off, though.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You can have, but you know what? As I've said, though, this is something that we can completely facilitate for you. Well, you just have to find somebody to fill in, and we can do that. It's probably smart anyway. Who wants to fill in for Brock? Who out there has radio knowledge and would like to be a part of this and work with me so that Brock can maybe take 4 or 5 days off?
No.
Yes, we could do that. We can totally do that. I'll accept resumes. Only serious contenders who are in the Pittsburgh area, because that's where you'd have to be. WendyBellRadio@gmail.com. Seriously, we need to do this. We need to have a backup for Brock.
Trying to be replaced.
Not replacing you, just being smart and giving you some time off, because you're right. You definitely deserve it.
I don't.
Wow. We seem to beat that dead horse quite a bit.
I
so
never
I think
beat that horse.
I'm pretty.
No.
Anybody
It's
who thinks
fake
otherwise, share a
news.
comment with me and we'll all. Okay. I was excited to see this interview. So KTLA Channel 5 News in Los Angeles. I worked there back in the day. It was like 35 years ago. Is that scary? 35 years ago, I worked at this TV station as a 20-year-old intern from the University of Colorado. It was fantastic. But this young reporter, she's great. Her name is Annie Rose Ramos. And she sits down with Xavier Becerra, and he's the former HHS Secretary of SUC, who wants to fail upwards into California's governor's mansion. And he gets absolutely destroyed by this young, cute reporter who's got the details on his complete ambivalence about losing illegal alien children who came into this country unaccompanied. And I don't know about you guys, but can you imagine the desperation of being a parent in another country and sending your child, some of them babies, some of them toddlers, along with strangers to come to the land called America, and to be so desperate that you'd be willing to roll the dice on that journey, and then to find out that your child is lost or being raped every day, or working in a chicken plant, debeaking chickens, or working at a Hilton, doing their laundry, or worse, just who knows where. This reporter asks Xavier Becerra. I want to play how it started. This is the beginning. She was rolling on it. And he's basically setting up, he expects to have a softball interview. He expects it to be the typical kid gloves. And she's like, yeah, that's not really what I'm here for. Listen.
This is the start of our interview with Javier Becerra in Highland Park.
By the way, this is a profile piece. This is not a gotcha piece, right?
Well, look, I think these questions are fair. It's in order to learn about you as a candidate.
So long as it's about the profile.
I don't know how you define profile, but I'd like to begin the interview.
The way I describe profile is you talk about all the things that I've done, things I want to do, and along with some tough questions. But not only tough questions.
Really? Is that how it always goes? Is that how you've been? You were such an ineffective HHS leader that Democrats were like, I'd never vote for this dude for frickin' anything. I guess I've been calling Xavier. It's Javier. So whatever, he still sucks. So KTLA, this young lady, Annie Rose Ramos, then goes into asking him about, what about all these missing children that the New York Times reported during the administration? You had no idea where they were. He's like, yeah, that's not what happened. And she comes with the details. It's brilliant.
During your time as HHS secretary, a New York Times investigation found the health department couldn't find some 85,000 children it had released.
That's not accurate. What you just read is not accurate. First, that's what I'll say, because it was never the case that we could not find kids. You're essentially, I don't know if you got those talking points from Donald Trump.
It's from a New York Times article.
That's not what the New York Times article said. The New York Times said that individuals, the children and their sponsors, did not respond to calls. They didn't say we couldn't find kids.
Working overnight in slaughterhouses, replacing roofs, operating machineries in factories, children as young as 14 years old.
That part occurred after these children had left the care of the Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you let these children go into those individual sponsors in their responsibility?
Some of these kids, probably because they needed to earn some money, started working in places that were very exploitive.
Wow. What? Harry Enton's mystified. I don't understand. Why is there no enthusiasm for Democrats? Because they don't care. That guy doesn't care. And he lied. The New York Times article says, over the last 2 years, HHS could not reach more than 85,000 children. Overall, the agency lost immediate contact with a third of migrant children. A third. You guys, they had like 450,000 migrant children come. And he wants to play semantics with you. Well, that's not actually true. These are people who probably didn't answer our phone calls. They were probably too busy doing other things, like working in sweatshops, because they probably needed money. Don't you think that would have been something that you would have factored into the equation before you put them with somebody like an MS-13 gang member? Because they did. Did it not strike you as being weird that there were 50 or 100 kids who were all sent to the same place and it was not a home because there were no windows on the house? What was going on inside there? Javier. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about you. He didn't care about your parents during COVID. Doesn't care about the children of the world. He doesn't care about anything. He considers it his time. This is his Hillary Clinton moment. This is my time. I paid my dues. This is my time to rise up and fail upwards. Hey, Javier, how about you suck it? You're a disgrace. What a disgrace. Disgrace to humanity. Losing children. When we come back, hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program on tap. I have no idea what we're talking about. Here we go. Trump told them to be bold and courageous. How did it turn out in South Carolina? Ooh, next. How? And his glib? Well, this is what I expect a profile to be about. It's about what I want to do about my track record. Well, your track record sucks. You lie for a living. And so what kind of a profile is that? He's expecting it. They expect it. They've gotten it for years. There's no 2 tiers of justice, not one way for Republicans. Right? I hate everybody.
Let me just say this too. if you want to fill in for me, you have to pass through me.
Hmm.
So there's that.
Okay.
I have to be comfortable because there's no way I could take a day off and feel comfortable.
Oh, we could get you comfortable. Imagine you could go do whatever you want to do.
I don't do anything.
It doesn't matter.
I
but
can't
you'd have to
afford it
even-
on $4.
How many times have I heard in the last 5 years I've had 4 days off?
How many times have I complained?
Who
You want
out there wants to weigh in on this one? Who doesn't get time off? Must be nice when he's taking time out with their family.
there's one thing to joking, and then there's another thing to being serious.
Oh, okay.
How many times have I seriously?
Oh, there's. Oh, we're playing
yeah.
semantics games.
Yeah, right.
Hobby
Yeah.
hair.
Liberal.
All right, Dr. Simkovich. Dr. Simkovich, when I say people get healed when they go to Dr. Simkovich, they get healed, right? If I knew of a Dr. Simkovich when I was a little girl suffering from really, really terrible headaches, I mean, it sidelined me for a lot. I missed a lot, down and out with headaches. If I had known, I would have found a way to come to Dr. Simkovich. I would have found a way to get to Dr. Simkovich. If you've had a traumatic brain injury or somebody you know has gotten bonked on the head, they've suffered a concussion, whether it's sports or what have you. Thanks, T. Brooks. See, he complains every day that he doesn't get time off. I agree. Dr. Simkovich fixes people, and he does more than that. It's more than just clarity. It's like everything about your world comes back into sync when you go see Dr. Simkovich. They have an intensive protocol. It's not surgery. It's not cutting into you. There's no blood. There are no needles. It's literally Dr. Simkovich's hands manipulating your soft palate and correcting something called the sphenoid process. That's the science of it. But what it means to you is there's a doctor who cares about you and fixing you and you feeling normal again. And that's what he does. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. 412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. We're now talking about what the pay would be. Is that what it is? Is that what we're worried about? Somebody here in the chat. Panteris.
Let me just throw this out there. You're going to have to know how to audio edit. You're going to have to know how to video edit. You're going to have to learn the streaming software. You're going to have to learn the radio software. I'm not saying anything other than there is just more than we joke. There's just more than pushing buttons. And you have to be able to understand the radio side to be able to
So this is a
troubleshoot.
multimedia.
Yeah, it's a troubleshoot because here's what's going to happen, right? And I don't have even when I'm off, Andrea has filled in the past. Even when I'm off, I don't mind taking a phone call because there's things I can fix, things that I've just done that I can say, push this button, do this, try this, boom, and I can do a lot remote if I had to. I could, but that's not taking time off. Nor do I want time off. I go nowhere. I do nothing. So I golf at a different time of day.
250 rumbles. I need you. I need you. I want you. I do, though, both. 4,500 people killing it. You guys are the constant ones. I'm telling you. It's about 5,000 people constant every single day. And that's pretty special. It's pretty special. So, all right. What happened in South Carolina? I guess the South Carolina Rhinos, they got 2 years before they're up for re-election. That gives somebody in South Carolina lots of time lots of time to get into position to primary these people and replace them. Right? Whether or not they change the congressional map in time for the midterm, the midterms in November. These people, this voting forces people out of the shadows. And you have to show us who you are. That's what Republican in name only means. You have the stamp, letter, but not the behavior. Yeah, we want better. America wants better. And Republicans want better for sure.
I'm getting asked if you pay expenses for travel to come fill in.
Wow.
So the answer is no.
Why? Who's asking?
John. It's like, do you cover expenses to travel? No.
Heck, I'll put them up at my house in the basement.
Oh, with the dead squirrels and chipmunks.
No, it's been fixed. There's no nicer place in the world.
In all seriousness,
in the basement.
She says I need time off. I don't. I enjoy when you're off.
The fact of the matter
and JD
is,
fills in.
The fact of the matter is, if anything happens to you, this is over. I'd love to know how to do it all myself. What would end up happening is I'd probably come in here, we would ditch radio, and I would just do Rumble and be very sad.
Look, you're already planning my demise.
Well, I'm just being prudent.
Here we go.
It's ignorant to not be prudent.
5, 4.
Only a matter of time.
2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program is on the clock. You know what strikes me as I was watching this Senate committee hearing on secrets and this CIA whistleblower coming forward and being like, look, I was tasked by Tulsi Gabbard in the Department of National Intelligence to get into the reality of where did COVID come from and why did it change from a lab to this wet market? Who was behind that? And he testifies and he says, look, it was Fauci. The CIA was ready in August of 2021 to come out and basically just tell the truth and say, look, this started in this lab and it spread. And then Fauci injected himself into those conversations, how he did. If you don't trust me, you don't trust science. That's why that ego comes out. It's crazy. It's like, it's almost like the smaller you are, the bigger your ego, or maybe the larger the fear that you're going to get caught for being a dirtbag. Maybe that's what it is. But that no Democrats in this Senate committee showed up for this hearing. Not a single Democrat. Not a single Democrat obviously cares about why people you love died. But not a single Democrat cares about why people you love lost their business. Why our children slipped through the cracks. Why indiscriminate and completely preposterous guidance was foisted upon all of this. They don't care. They don't care. They didn't care then. They don't care about any kind of injury you've suffered if you got the vaccine. They don't care about people just dying suddenly, because that happens. Sure did after the vaccine push. They didn't care that the vast majority of people who had problems did within the first 48 hours. Like literally shot, dead. What? What are you doing? Senate Democrats didn't care enough today to show up and listen to this whistleblower. So they're either in on it. They cashed in on COVID when they all did because of the CARES Act, right? That was the greatest money laundering piece of legislation we've ever seen, right? Where could $3.5 trillion possibly go wrong? I have no idea. Who's paying attention to it? Nobody. Right? And so they just didn't show. That is so insulting. See, these votes, though, when Donald Trump comes out and he's like, look, get into the business of districting your state and unwinding these racially drawn districts, the Supreme Court just said was wrong and unconstitutional. Got to fix. So the president comes out and he's like, hey, states, fix them. And he sends a big note to South Carolina. Hey, be bold and courageous. You can do this. And so what happens? Yesterday, 5 Republicans in the Senate, ostensibly, or in the House, I forget where it is, Senate, excuse me, voted against this redistricting in South Carolina, which would have drawn James Clyburn, who is a race-baiting turd, right, out of Congress. That's what it would have done. And 5 Republicans, in name only, in the Senate, in South Carolina, were like, yeah, I don't think so. See, now you're forced to know who they are. They're flushed out of the shadows. The South Carolina Senate Tuesday rejected the House-passed resolution. Their House got it done. The Senate, I don't think so. To extend a legislative session to consider redistricting. That's all they wanted to do. We're going to show up for a little bit longer. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I want to do that. It's sort of like John Thune and the rhinos in the Senate. Yeah, about the Save America Act. I don't know. Well, we do. It's not even a close issue. It's 8 out of 10 Americans. What are you doing? So the president telling South Carolina Republicans, be bold, be courageous. No, we're not going to. We're not going to talk about it. Well, now what's going to happen is they're going to get Indiana'd. Those 5 rhinos have just been put on blast. Everybody knows who they are. I got 2 years to be running for re-election, and you will be replaced. And it's not Donald Trump who's going to replace you. It's MAGA, because this is MAGA's revenge tour, ladies and gentlemen. Look, we've sat back and we paid attention to all of this, and we've been good little soldiers. We've kept our mouths shut. We didn't make a mess. We didn't do what the Tennessee Democrats did and light fires inside the Capitol building. We didn't stand on tables and demand and hoot and holler and have foghorns or whatever the hell, bullhorns, whatever they're called, to interrupt a legislative session. We don't do that. But we take notes and we pay attention. And we've been taking notes and we've been paying attention. And now we're out for blood. And it's game on. Did you hear Trump went 9-0 across West Virginia and Nebraska yesterday? Not Trump, MAGA. Carol Miller, she won. Riley Moore wins. Shelley Moore Capito wins. Mike Flood wins. Brinker Hardin, Adrian Smith, Pete Ricketts, Jim Pillen, and Mike Hilgers. Now, these aren't people I know, but the people across West Virginia and Nebraska, they know. 9-0. MAGA endorsed, Trump endorsed candidates succeed in their primary elections. Damn right they do. Here's John Roberts at Fox. He's talking about Missouri's redistricting that's now completed. And this is giving Republicans another seat advantage in the House. Listen.
And late today, there was another blow to Democratic hopes of regaining control of the House. The Missouri Supreme Court upheld a new congressional map that could help Republicans win an additional seat in November. Missouri was the second Republican state after Texas to redraw its congressional districts at President Trump's urging last year.
Huh. Well, you know who's also realizing that MAGA is not pleased with them and they're screwed? And now they're trying desperately to hitch their wagons to President Trump after they stabbed him in the back. Will it be 3 rhinos, Bill Cassidy, John Cornyn, and Thomas Massie. This is an excellent story. Washington Times headline, Republican candidates hustle for redemption from Trump. Hey, South Carolina rhinos, y'all better be paying attention because your days are numbered. President Trump's grip on Republican primaries is so strong that even candidates he's not endorsed are working overtime to show that they're aligned with the party's dominant figure. Senators Bill Cassidy of Louisiana and John Cornyn of Texas have leaned heavily into their pro-Trump credentials. Yet, with their primaries just days away, Cornyn is still waiting for an endorsement. You're not getting it, dude. Better not. It better go to Ken Paxton. And Mr. Cassidy is staring down a Trump-backed challenger, as well he should. Kentucky is showing a similar dynamic. Thomas Massey's been touting his support for the Trump agenda, but he's fighting for his political life against a Trump-endorsed opponent. Payback for breaking with the president. All of this points to a simple reality. Despite the Trump-led Republican struggles in the 2025 off-year elections, the president, who's been reshaping the party over the past decade, remains king of the Republican jungle. Is that really what it is? Or is MAGA fed up? Or are we showing up and we're deciding? So let's talk about what's coming up. I'm not so sure this is really Trump's revenge tour. I don't believe it's Trump's revenge tour. I think it is MAGA's. The voters deciding that we've had enough. So Louisiana's primary is this Saturday. Bill Cassidy shaking in his boots, and he should. He stinks. Kentucky is next Tuesday. What's going on there? You well know. Texas, the runoff between Cornyn and Ken Paxton. Kentucky, Thomas Massey decided to make a decision. He made a decision. And it didn't work out well for him. It's sort of like the Fetterman effect. Fetterman stood up to the Democrats and decided to vote independent of them. And they didn't like that. Thomas Massey did it a little differently. It was spiteful. It was mean-spirited. It was anti-Trump, purposeful. And he's going to get his butt handed to him. I want you to hear something that's interesting. This is Newt Gingrich. He's talking about Missouri redistricting. Trump is such an historic figure on Missouri's redistricting. They have 8 U.S. House seats. And under this newly upheld GOP-drawn congressional map, the partisan breakdown is expected to be 7 Republicans to 1 Democrat, which is a gain of +1 for the GOP. Here's Newt Gingrich. He's talking about the genesis of the word gerrymander. And it actually comes, I didn't know this, from Elbridge Gerry, who is an American founding father, a signer of the Declaration of Independence. And he brings this into this conversation about Trump's historic effect on this redistricting effort, why it is so powerful.
When Elbridge Gerry drew a map in Massachusetts to try to preserve the Federalists, and somebody said, boy, that district looks like a salamander, and somebody else said, oh no, that's a gerrymander. Wow. That's where the word comes from. So that's the only other time in American history that we've seen the mobilization of everything. I mean, California's involved. Democrats didn't mind when California wiped out Republican seats. They loved Virginia wiping out Republican seats. All of a sudden, the institutional tide has turned. And this is why Trump is such a historic figure.
And this is why Harry Enton is greasing our skids for what's coming in November. Well, it used to be +6. Democrats totally going to retake the House. Uh-oh, not so much anymore. I wonder why. Huh. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, it's literally politicians gone wild. We're going to go back into the Texas Capitol Rotunda. Let's talk about or the Tennessee rather. Let's talk about what happened as House Democrats get stripped of their committee assignments for acting like lunatics. Next. Let's go. I'm glad. You know what? There's got to be consequence for your bad decision making. And lighting a Confederate flag on fire inside a building that has great historic significance to that state? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're thinking that you are above and beyond the law. Well, suck it, which is great. All right, let's talk about Healthy Cell. Brog's waiting. Don't you guys agree? I mean, I need to have a backup, right? It's just a matter of how do I do that? It's one of those tricky things. And you can tell how he gets fussy with it, but it's like, it's idiotic to not have a plan B, right? So let's see. I've been taking Healthy Cell for about 6 weeks now. I deal with anxiety. I deal with worry from time to time, and it can be stressful. And this is somebody who's trying to get off of a prescription like Xanax. You don't want to be connected to that. You don't want to be addicted to that. You don't want to depend on that. And sometimes addiction is more mental than it is physical. What if you would take something in a cute little microgel pack like this that didn't get you connected to hardcore drugs, that was not something that Big Pharma makes money off of, that's based on like nutraceuticals, things that happen out in nature that we've known about since the beginning of life, that are wonderful medicinal things that we can take, that are natural, that do natural things for us. Well, this woman says, I took the Healthy Cell Calm Mood, and it does exactly what it says it does. It keeps me calm. It doesn't mask my emotions. It doesn't make me a zombie. I can get excited. I can get angry. I get sad. That doesn't change, but I definitely feel more in control. I feel more calm. I can be a terrible car passenger. This is from Karen. But I noticed the other day I wasn't affected. What a tremendous relief. I love the fact that just worrying about being worried or anxious or nervous about something isn't a worry with Calm Mood. Calm Mood. Do I have it over here? I don't. Somewhere else. Oh, that's right. I forget where it went. Anyway, healthycell.com/Wendy. This is the joint health and mobility formula. Every formula is delicious. It gets into your body. It's 165% more absorbed than typical supplements that you take by mouth. It gets all the way down into your cells in your blood system, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I feel great. You're going to get a great discount there as if you're a first-time buyer. I think 20%. Healthycell.com/Wendy. I take 2, sometimes 3 of their supplements a day. And I think they're wonderful. Hair, skin, and nails. How you doing? Healthycell.com/Wendy. It just makes sense. I like things that make sense.
/Wendy.
/Wendy.
People are talking about my demise. I should teach Wendy everything. What if Brock drops dead tomorrow? Wow.
Right? I was a Girl Scout.
You'd at least take a show or 2 off to figure it out.
You gotta be prepared. I'd have to take a day or 2, a show or 2 off.
Yeah, I mean, unless it would happen on a Friday. You could be ready by Monday.
I would be devastated if anything happened to you, of course. But I think if you were dead, you'd feel bad that it derailed everything that I was doing.
I really wouldn't feel bad, I'm thinking. I'd come back to haunt you.
You'd come back. Oh, welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. I love this story from WSMV Channel 4, somewhere in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. All members of the House Democratic Caucus in Tennessee have been removed from their committees and subcommittees, according to a letter obtained by the TV network. The letter, signed by House Speaker Cameron Sexton, Republican, and addressed to Leader Camper, states that, quote, members of the Democratic caucus will receive individual letters removing them from all standing committees and subcommittees of the House, except where membership is required. I wish that I still had the sound of the bullhorn and all of the people inside the Tennessee Capitol, where it was like, and they're all upset because the Supreme Court, Tennessee, was like, look, this is what we're going to do. This is not what we're going to do. Or rather, we're going to redistrict. They went nutty, and all of these black districts are going to be carved away, right? There's a level of decorum that we expect in a civilized society. And here in America, we expect you to to take a shower before you roll out of bed on Sundays, or maybe before you get to Walmart in your jammies, right? Be nice to brush your teeth, wash your hair. We expect when you board an airplane that you're not going to look like you rolled out from one of the homeless encampments in Los Angeles on Skid Row, that maybe there's some level of behavior and personal care that we should all be a part of again, right? I'm appreciative of this action in Tennessee. The transformation of a couple of these people, Justin Pearson, one of the House Democrats there in Tennessee, who rolled into looking like Malcolm X. Is he the guy? I think he is. He was a clean-cut guy wearing a suit just not a couple years ago, and then all of a sudden, he got some weird Malcolm X bug, grew out this huge afro, wears all these weird African clothes, and talks like he's the one who got in the face of the state trooper and called him, boy, get away, get out of my way, boy, and then called him a stupid MFer. Well, your services on any committee, it's no longer needed, sir. Oh. Let's read the letter. It's brilliant. It's succinct. Says exactly what needs to be said. Dear Leader Camper, this is Karen Camper. She's the leader. Due to actions taken by members of the Democratic caucus during the second extraordinary session of the 114th General Assembly, aimed at disrupting the democratic and legislative processes and creating disorder on the House floor, including but not limited to interlocking arms in the well of the House. This is, of course, all of them that dress the same, right? Because that makes your point more meaningful when everybody dresses alike, because this is just like kindergarten. That's what we do. Also blocking aisles on the House floor, instigating and encouraging disruptions of the legislative process in coordination with paid protesters and attendees in the gallery who acted like it was an insurrection, right? Including the distribution of earplugs to a member of your caucus, because you were going to go wah, 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 with a bullhorn that everybody wanted to hear about. The use of prohibited props and noisemakers on the House floor, demonstrating a lack of respect towards fellow members seeking recognition to speak on legislation, and flagrant disregard for the permanent rules of order of the House. Members of the Democratic caucus will receive individual letters, removing them from all standing committees and subcommittees of the House, except where membership is required pursuant to Rule 65 of the House Rules. Sincerely, Cameron Sexton, Tennessee Speaker of the House. Who do you think you are? This is what happens when you don't get spanked. This is what happens when there are no rules. This is what happens when there are no consequences for breaking those rules. This is an emboldened Democratic Party that's not used to being criticized, that's not used to being channeled, that's not used to guide rails. These are the people who are used to playing the victim card. And if the victim card happens to be racial in nature, well, then it's literally girls gone wild without the wet t-shirt contest. It's how low can you go, race to the bottom, how much of a dirtbag can I behave as to basically sully the reputation of my party, which today on Capitol Hill just decided not to show up for a very important whistleblower testimony about the origins of COVID. So Harry Enton baffled. I don't get it. Usually the midterm election goes to the party not in the White House. It should be in the bag for the Democrats. But something's going on. It's like so weird. There's a disturbance in the force. What could it be? Oh, I don't know. MAGA's revenge tour? Or is it just the American electorate being tired of you? When we get back on the Wendy Bell radio program, medical fraud in Ohio. Oh my gosh, it's staggering. Wait until you hear this. Don't miss it next. It's every state. It's every city. It's every state. That's what's going to come out, right? That's all we're going to hear about. Oh, it's here. Oh, it's there. Oh, it's here. Yeah, it is. I want to tell you, I have a testimonial, personal testimonial of something that I've experienced with my son, Jack, who has been using the ghost bed. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Do you ever have a hard time like getting comfortable and turning off your brain when you go to bed? Do you toss? Do you turn? You don't when you lie down on a ghost bed. The thing I found was the immediate way in which I got comfortable, which leads to I have very little memory of the night. And isn't that the point? I don't want to remember tossing and turning and looking at the clock every hour. I don't want to remember waking up and being like, ouch, my back hurts. I don't want to sleep hot and be like, that can happen with menopause and such. But I don't want that to be my regular thing. Sleeping. When you get a ghost bed, you fall asleep. It's like the tsetse fly. It's bitten you and you're like, zzz. That's my experience. That's Jack's experience using this hybrid mattress. From ghostbed.com/Wendy. Made here in America. Made in America by a family that is just like your family. They have your values. They're conservative. They love this country. They want to provide you a service, not just a mattress. It's an entirely like engineered sleep system. Because when you can sleep well and you wake up and you feel great, everything else in your life is better. It just is. Try it. Buy one, try it for 101 nights. And if you don't love it, they'll come and they'll get it and you don't have to pay for it. That's the deal. That's the deal. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. This is their time of year for phenomenal deals, phenomenal sale, Memorial Day sale going on right now with an extra 10% off because of our promo code Wendy. So you're going to get the lowest prices of the year. Unless they do something wild at Christmas or Black Friday, I don't know about. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. It's been a long time since you've invested in your quality night's sleep. And you don't have to break the bank to do it. What did you laugh at?
You gotta love what people hear. Granny99 says, Brock, if you are unhappy, you mean unhappy, with your job as you seem to be, go find some other job and quit complaining.
I haven't heard a complaint out of the man, but it is curious when you play that fiddle of not me.
Oh, please. Listen, let me say this. I will be very nice.
Oh.
If you want to go use the bathroom, you have time.
I actually do want to use the bathroom,
ahead.
and I don't want to hear it.
For 20 some odd years, I got over 20 days vacation a year, and I would run out of them. I would use them, and I would use them as mental health days. I did not like going to work every day. So I know what it's like to work a job that you don't want to be at. I actually want to be here. You guys watch the pet show. Some of you guys watch the pet show on the weekends. I don't have to do that. I want to do that. I enjoy it. This is not work to me. Half of my day is sitting at home, smoking a cigar, doing my job. So she might think I need time off. But if I actually needed time off, I would tell her I need time off. And she knows this. If Wendy was to today, this is my last media gig. This is my last media job. I don't want to do it with anyone else. I don't want to work for anyone else. I do it because I enjoy it. I did it with Sean. I didn't get paid by Sean. I made nothing off of Sean other than watching my friend build a show that brought income in for his family. That's what I got from him. So I do it because I love it. I get paid to have an opinion. I get paid to push buttons. And there are a lot of people. And the reason I don't want to have a intern is because I don't think anyone going to college should be doing this. Don't go to college. You don't need a college degree to do this. Don't waste your money. I don't need time off. I've taken my time of 20 plus days a year for 20 years because I hated the place. So if I need time off, I will tell Wendy I need time off. But till then, like I said, I do the pet show because I want to. I help Sean because I love doing this. I do actually, sometimes you frustrate the hell out of me, but I actually do love the interaction between you guys. So it's just, I don't need time off. I enjoy what I do sometimes. Don't tell her I said nice things about her either. Don't ruin it for me.
Shoot, this is not what I need. Daily Wire. That's it. Shit. Common sense realville where we all live that fraud happens. We're aware of it. We do not know the degree to which we are being ripped off every day. We can assume it happens in every single zip code because it simply has been allowed. And then one day, Donald Trump came down an escalator and the whole fraudulent world went, oh, snap. Now it's been 10 years, 11 years, and they've still gotten away with it. But those times are about to come to an end. The noose is tightening on fraud. And a lot of people are scared because they've gotten high off the hog. But I'm tired of the IRS sniffing up my skirt, asking for more money. I pay a crap ton, a lot of money, and so do you. And I'm tired of working for other people to send money back to their countries, which obviously sucks since they left them to come here and just sponge off of us. So the Daily Wire did something and they investigated fraud in Ohio. You got Nick Shirley exposing it in Minneapolis. You got Oz piggybacking off of Nick in LA. Let's go to the Buckeye State, shall we? The Daily Wire has done a series of investigations that are noble, they are noteworthy, and we need to talk about some of this, okay? Because their investigation reveals one of the biggest government waste scandals hiding in plain sight. The individual writing this, Luke Rosiak, for the Daily Wire, says he's been investigating federal waste and fraud for 20 years. And he says this is the biggest scandal he has ever found. Look, the sooner you and I can all identify these things, it's like the faster we can sniff out BS, fake news narratives, the better we are at making the best decisions for the people we love. Here's the story. Just before the Department of Government Efficiency closed its doors, it made a quiet move that may end up as its most lasting impact on the federal deficit. DOJ published a massive trove of data in February that for the first time lets the public see what companies are billing Medicaid for. For decades, the payouts have been shrouded in secrecy. One of the largest government programs was a black box. I've spent the past 2 months diving into the numbers, and what I found was the most blatant waste of federal dollars that I've encountered in my 2 decades as an investigative reporter. I set my sights on Ohio, which much like Minnesota has been granted waivers to expand Medicaid well beyond its original purpose. Under the guise of healthcare, Ohio pays people to go to Medicaid beneficiaries' homes to perform homemaking and chores like cooking and cleaning. The people performing these, quote, personal services tasks don't even have to be healthcare workers. And in many cases, they're actually relatives of the Medicaid recipient. According to a Daily Wire data analysis, Ohio spent $1 billion on home health care in 2024, the last year for which data is available. Since the services are performed inside private residences, there's no way to know whether the workers went at all or what they're actually doing in exchange for taxpayer funds. An infinite number of small black boxes inside a big black box. Multiple signs said the service provided and billed to the government was sometimes just companionship and conversation. What? As people have realized the United States government will pay them to hang out with their own families, Northeast Columbus has seen its economy replaced by businesses that bill Medicaid. And Columbus, a city with the second largest Somali population in the country, has become on the surface the most unhealthy city on the planet. Well, if the government is going to pay you to do it, one home health operator told me, people see it as lucrative, and so they just jump on it. There are no guide rails, ladies and gentlemen, on purpose. The new welfare queens aren't the recipients whose low incomes qualify them for poverty programs. They're the companies getting rich off of them. Driving down Cleveland Avenue in less than 40 seconds, you come across endless home health care companies. Capital Home Health, Continental Home Health, Dynamic Home Health Care, Ohio Senior Home Health Care. Entire buildings throughout the city are filled entirely with what appear to be identical businesses. The enormous complex at 6161 Bush Boulevard with no windows. It'd be a problem for most office buildings, but there's almost no one inside of this one. What is inside is 94 different companies signed up to bill Medicaid, each with a tiny office, often marked with a sheet of paper proclaiming some generic company name ending in Home Health LLC, and sometimes another piece of paper claiming the employees had just stepped out for a break. This building alone billed taxpayers $66 million in the span of a few years, the records show. Pick the owner of a Columbus home health care company at random and look them up in public records, and you're likely to go down an endless rabbit hole. Years of unpaid taxes and debt, sometimes criminal records, and an astonishing number of LLCs created in other industries, as if the millions they make from Medicaid are just kind of a side gig. We went down several of those rabbit holes, and in the coming days, we're going to break them out for you. In fact, you're going to meet a politician who founded an $11 million home health care company that he appeared to run part-time without even mentioning it in his political biography, who funded his campaign with donations from other home health care companies. A woman who reinvented her janitorial LLC as a health provider and then billed Medicaid nearly $100,000 just the first month. Or a landlord who bought airplanes after renting space to hundreds of home health care companies that billed Medicaid $250 million. Or $1 million Medicaid business owned by a couple with repeated fraud, violence, and theft convictions. A man who went to prison for Medicaid fraud but told the government he was too broke to pay restitution, while his neighbors and associates preside over a poverty program empire. Or an accountant who lost his license for stealing public funds and then opened a $7 million home health company using the address of a convicted money launderer's teenage son. This is the part that's infuriating. When we asked one of these home health care companies what they did, what do you do to make your money? One man threatened, "You're a journalist? Who cares? Do you guys pay my bills? I'm going to tell everybody you guys are racist." The government cannot be meaningfully monitoring all of the people it writes $1 million checks to in Columbus. They all share combinations of just a few names like Ahmed Mohammed and Mohammed Ahmed. Documents reviewed by the Daily Wire show individuals will spell their own name multiple different ways within a single document, and many of them list their birthday as January 1 because their birth dates are unknown. This is every city. This is your city. This is my city. And you know what? This is interesting. On the heels of the Daily Wire breaking this expose in Ohio, acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, working with Homeland Security investigations, uncovered a staggering degree of student fraud, foreign student fraud, foreign students pretending to be phantom employees. In fact, ICE just announced a jaw-dropping fraud bust, saying 10,000 foreign students are involved in the federal government's Optional Practical Training Program, OPT. But what they find is empty buildings where hundreds of students should be working as part of their ability to be here in America. Of course, these buildings are run by foreign-linked groups that send money, our money, out of the country. Here's Todd Lyons.
HSI agents have visited problematic OPT employer work sites in Virginia, Texas, Georgia, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Florida. Many of these employers include NGOs engaged in suspicious activity. We've discovered empty buildings and locked doors at addresses where hundreds of foreign students are allegedly employed. In many cases, multiple OPT employers claim to operate from the same address, but none actually lease the facility. We found small residential addresses listed as work sites for hundreds of foreign students, yet no employees were present. When someone does answer the door, their statements are inconsistent, or they claim no knowledge of the business.
It's almost like we're in Minneapolis with Nick Shirley going into that building. It's almost like we're in Southern California with he or Oz, right? With him or Oz knocking on doors and exposing all of the BS fraud. It's almost like it's everywhere. It's so ubiquitous, you guys. No wonder our tax code is obnoxious. No wonder we're paying through the nose. No wonder Generation Z can't afford a freaking house. No wonder people can't afford to get pregnant and have a baby. Because we're allowing all these people to screw us. And you know, what do they do after they screw us? They give a little tip to the Democrats who allow it to happen, and some Republicans. Brandon Gill is part of he's actually the head of a new task force that should absolutely terrify the fraudsters, as the Oversight Committee is focusing now on institutional abuses by nonprofits and universities, and of course, Medicaid fraud. Listen.
What Republicans are doing are fighting to make sure that American tax dollars are being spent wisely. What Democrats want to do is weaponize the federal government and state governments and agencies to launder tax dollars to give to their political allies to effectively buy off votes. That's what we saw in Minnesota. And what it seems to be we could be finding in certain parts in Ohio and other states across the country as well. What we're doing is we're taking away one of the key arms that the Democrat Party apparatus has used in order to win elections, in order to win over people. It's wildly, just flagrantly corrupt. And again, this is what the American people are sick of. Whenever you pay your taxes every single year, you want to make sure that your money is actually going to programs that benefit the American people, not programs that benefit explicitly the Democrat Party.
Why was the Democrat Party never putting up guide rails, never paying attention? Why didn't they care? Why were they racing so quickly to spend our money? Why did they cheer and stand next to a dolly that had like 2,500 pages of literature in it, but how many billions and trillions in taxes? And they celebrate this, right? And yet they don't show up at all today to talk about COVID, to talk about their own culpability, to talk about all of the schemes that were spawned from that. Why don't they care? Isn't that interesting? Ask yourself that question. If you're listening to me and you're a Democrat voter, why? What do they do for you? Oh, they're for women's rights. Really? Is that how it goes? Oh, they're for equality. Really? I guess they believe that you and Somalis should equally share your income. Is that how it works? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Kash Patel makes a margarita drinking senator with an affinity for Maryland man Kilmar Abrego Garcia sound like a lush. They're not used to Republicans who take the gloves off. Wait for this exchange. It's brilliant. Next. You know, I don't normally at this point, I don't normally get to talk about my friends at Cozy Earth. All right, best thing in the world. All right, here we go. REM sleep, new ghost bed mattress, and Cozy Earth sheets. Shut up. I'll never leave your house if you have those. That's how it'll go. Let me get my bookmark open. See, I shut this down. Why? I want to see what the deal is that they're offering with Cozy Earth, because I'll tell you, the number one thing that I did in my house is replace all of my sheets with Cozy Earth sheets. And they're expensive.
Wait, what did your 26-year-old son ask for his birthday?
Cozy Earth sheets.
That says it all right there.
I got him Cozy Earth sheets. A whole set. He got the pillows. He got the pillowcase. He got everything. He got the mattress pad. He got the duvet. He got it all. This is the nicest gift, the gift of fantastic sleep. I'm just going to tell you, So when Cozy Earth calls us and they're like, hey, we want to be a part of this, what are you doing? 20% off what? 20% off? Soft enough to sleep in. We'll talk about their clothes. They've got brushed bamboo jogger sets. You want to sleep in luxury? Oh, yeah, you can do that. But you can also walk around and breathe every day in luxury. So soft enough to sleep in, but put together enough to go out the door and to go run errands in. Jogger sets are made from viscose, from bamboo, lightweight, breathable, the kind of soft. I have some. Soft that you can't describe. How about their clogs? They have clogs now. Cozy Earth's clogs are built for every part of your home. A cushioned footbed, a soft interior, and an easy slip-on silhouette. Sound like slippers that I want. Supportive enough to stand in, cozy enough to forget you're wearing them. Look, there is nothing that I have gotten from Cozy Earth that has not been absolutely worth every single freaking penny. And when they put 20% off of it, that's when you cash in, okay? So comfort lives at cozyearth.com, cozyearth.com/Wendy, 20% off. I'm telling you what, stop buying things that are just, oh, they're affordable. Yeah, well, some things are affordable because they're not very great quality. These are decadent. Everything I've purchased from cozyearth.com. It's
Cheap
just,
ain't good and good ain't cheap.
you know how I feel about it, Brock.
I washed them and put them right back on.
I gave them to him for Christmas or his birthday, and he was like, oh, great.
Really? That was my response. I'll tell you this much. That was, what, a year and a half ago? I literally have not slept on
anything else.
Anything else. since
Anything
then.
else. No.
I'm assuming they're going to just disintegrate.
No, they've got a guarantee. They're warranted. So if the zizzle starts happening, you can be like, yo, I need Mo. But I've had mine for more than a year, and it's not a problem. I'm telling you what. And it's annoying. Once you sleep on Cozy Earth sheets, you're like, I can't sleep on other sheets. I don't want to go somewhere else. I'm like, nah. So if you want me to sleep over at your house, it better be nice.
Wow.
It better be snuggly.
Yeah, right.
Better be super snuggly.
You better be more than a day bed or a couch.
Are you talking to Jolene?
No, I'm not saying anything.
Oh, good to know. How are we doing with rumbles? Hold on. I'm going to look. 2.15. That's awful. That's not leaderboard material. That's not leaderboard material. I'm not going to make it. That's sad.
This is for Van Hollen.
Are we doing Riva? No.
No.
No, margaritas for here leading into this final segment, leading into our third hour, because Kash Patel absolutely lit up all of these sniveling Democrats in a committee hearing yesterday that wanted to browbeat him on this and that. I don't even care what they wanted to talk to him about. I heard this Chris Van Hollen soundbite and I had to laugh. So remember, Kash Patel is over the mark. Whatever he's into, whatever he's landed on, whatever files that he found in whatever super secret room he wasn't supposed to discover, in the burn bags that should have been taken care of that weren't, he's over the mark. And so the deep state is trying desperately to get rid of this guy, right? And so what was the story? He's a drunk. He's a drunk, because I saw him at the Olympics cheering with the men's hockey, and they were like so upset about that. Somebody having fun celebrating America? No. And so they created this narrative. Cash Patel's got a drinking problem. In fact, aides say he's hammered sometime on the job. Sometime they can't even wake him up. Really? And he came out and he's like, that's the dumbest crap I've heard in my life. That's the dumbest crap I've heard in my life. So when Chris Van Hollen, who didn't want to know anything actionable, like anything real at the FBI, anything that Cash Patel really should be talking about, he wanted to hammer him with this whole idea that Cash is a little bit of a drinker. Let's see if Cash was ready for it, because, oh my, I'm not certain I was ready for this.
Occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you, is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike your baseless reports, the only person that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know,
the only person that ran up a $7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you.
This
so the only individual in this room that has been drinking on taxpayer dime during the day is you.
Director Patel, come on. These are serious allegations that were made against you. They're in a lawsuit that you filed.
You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger is true and on video.
It just goes to show you
running a $7,000 bar tab at the lobby bar has been filed by your own office.
This goes to show
drink during the day. That's you. This is the ultimate example of hypocrisy.
Mr. Chairman,
I will not be tarnished by baseless allegations or fraudulent statements from the media.
The fact that you mentioned that indicates you don't know what you are talking about. Now, here, Director
The only thing I know is you're the one drinking margaritas with felons.
Oh my gosh. It's almost like Cash Patel was ready for that. Oh, because if you were saying to yourself, wait a minute, what's he talking about? Chris Van Hollen spent $7,000 of American taxpayer money getting hammered in a lobby bar in Washington, D.C. What is he talking about? So I Googled it, and then they popped up. It was like literally 2 hours after his testimony. He's like, oh yeah, for anybody who's interested in what I was talking about with Senator Van Hollen, here it is. Patel posts Van Hollen campaign $7,000 bar tab after barbed Senate testimony. FBI Director Cash Patel posted a Federal Election Commission form showing Senator Chris Van Hollen's Senate campaign spent over $7,000 at a Washington, D.C. bar. The Maryland Democrat was asking Patel whether he knew lying to Congress was a crime, to which the FBI director denied doing so and added, maybe the next time you run up a $7,000 bar tab, we can talk about it. Van Hollen countered that public money wasn't used, contrary to what he said Patel had claimed. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he said it was a Christmas party and he used campaign
It was
finances.
his campaign money.
Well, newsflash, if you got money from taxpayers for your campaign, then yes, you did use taxpayer money.
It is remarkable. Patel later posted a photo of the FEC file, which I'm looking at, and it shows Van Hollen's Senate campaign spent over $7,128 at the lobby bar in Washington, D.C. Van Hollen said during the hearing Tuesday that it was for a 50-member staff party. I don't care if it was for Santa Claus. I don't care if it was for Santa Claus, baby Jesus, and, Amelia Earhart. It doesn't matter. It's $7,000. Brock, am I wrong?
I want to know where my Christmas party is for $7,000.
Oh my goodness. And so that's the story.
And what does he need 50 people for?
I don't know. Look at how good we are. We're the kings of blowhardia. Drink up. Cheers. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, hour number 3, Rand Paul says it's a deep state cover-up. Shocker. And the CIA is covering it up. What is it? What is he talking about? Oh boy. Next. Well, you know what it is because we played some of the audio from it, but I think it's important to be able to go into the weeds a little bit. What's being testified about on Capitol Hill? I am
$7,000 bar tab.
Right?
For 50 people.
Disinfectwithsniper.com. Ooh, you've got something to report
50
on this. You have something to report on this. Wait, 50 times. Let's see how many. 7,128.
And listen, if you're bringing that many people, they're giving you a deal.
So 50 divided by, or 7,000. So everybody is about $150.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not going to happen. No.
I'm just saying, it is what it is. But
they need to find a better place.
So yesterday I went out and I took 2 of the 4 organic fertilizers from our friends at Disinfect with Sniper. And I put the one out that was for roses, and I put one out for flowering bushes and azaleas and what have you. And it's got a lot of omega-3s, and so it's got a very fish odor to it, which makes sense. That's where the fatty oils are and whatnot, omega-3 fatty acids. And so I would spread it, and then I watered all of the plants. Murphy this morning was going haywire trying to eat the fertilizer that was underneath my rose bushes. And I was like, dude, stop it. That's important stuff. It's coast and Maine. Don't. It's coast of Maine. Disinfectwithsniper.com, disinfectwithsniper.com. They've got all these organic products that I'm going to test. We're going to see how they go. This is the second year for really kind of my first full year with the new landscaping. We're going to see how it goes. I don't know. I'll keep you informed. But I trust our friend at disinfectwithsniper.com, and he's got all sorts of great things in the hopper for you. Always thinking outside of the box, always getting you your product shipped out that day that you order it. Literally, that's what he does. It's crazy. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Everything on there I love. Oh, I used my spritz, the Deer Stop, sprayed all my hostas. I caught myself talking to myself. The electrician walked by and he's like, "What'd you say?" And I was like, "Oh, I was talking to the deer."
Stay off my hostas.
Stay off my hostas. I love everything about that product. So
$150 a person. A bar tab at a hockey game where overpriced drinks are served was not $150 a person.
That was close.
Yeah, but that was a hockey game. Those are $25 a drink.
Yeah, it was stupid. And I was like, let's keep them coming. Anyway.
Give us one more and close out his tab.
All right, let me tell you guys about Wendy Loves Gold. Wendy Loves Gold. Super excited to do more with Texas Bullion Exchange. I think they love the relationship with you. And when you call 855-927-5557, that is your direct contact. Nobody else gets that number but the Wendy Bell radio program. So when that rings, they know that you've been greased to understand what I feel about Texas Bullion Exchange, how I had zero knowledge of precious metals investing. I've never purchased gold before. I've never purchased silver before. And now I have quite a bit of it. You know, for a small guy, for a little person, like I have some now, and it's exciting. And so it's this idea, if you're sitting on money in a bank account and it's doing nothing for you, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? If you have $10,000, if you have $20,000 and it's sitting somewhere, if you have more than that, why wouldn't you call Texas Bullion Exchange or go to wendylovesgold.com and ask them? Ask them about becoming an investor. Ask them about how you can get it in your hot little hands. Or if you don't want to physically have it, ask how you can get into your portfolio for your retirement. This is what they do. And I can tell you the value of my gold and silver has gone up exponentially since I bought it in the last year and a half. wendylovesgold.com. Call them, 855-927-5557. They'll be so excited to hear from you. And then let me know about your experience. wendybellradio@gmail.com. You can tell me about any of your experiences with any of our sponsors. I love them. They're going to be coming out here soon, and I'm super geeked by that. So we did that. This whole testimony about COVID, they're so desperate to memory hole it and just move on. It's what they want to do with 2020. They want to memory hole that. And they went after the COVID truth tellers the way they did the 2020 truth tellers. And it's very textbook, right? It's attack. It's attack and demean and belittle and humiliate and ridicule. And a lot of us, it didn't work on us. You know, that didn't work on me. It just pissed me off. And I was like, oh, so you don't like when I talk about this. Why ever would that be? That sounded sort of sinister. Where are the super friends? That's what we need. James Erdman. We're going to make sure we go through this together. There's no like one and done. We don't just say, you know, okay, you're sorry. How does Javier Becerra live with himself knowing that he was the guy who was in charge of those migrant kids? It doesn't bother him. He doesn't think about it at night. I would. How does Fauci, how do you sleep with yourself? How do you create that like untouchable monster mentality where you're literally pissed if people ask you to defend your criminality? You're like, don't argue with science.
I am science. That's the part.
That's when we were all like, yeah.
I am science.
You're a short little dude with a giant supersized ego.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. You know, I'm just thinking about some of the things we've already shared on this program. And I have a really difficult time understanding how someone like a Javier Becerra, whatever the hell that guy's name is, how do you not look in the mirror and see disgrace? When you're responsible for, you have the opportunity to do right by another human being, and you choose to do everything that's wrong. And then not only are you annoyed that anybody would call you out on that, how dare they? Like, do they know who you are? Not only does that outrage you, not only are you infuriated by that, you're deluded enough to believe that you should fail upwards into a bigger job where you could ostensibly hurt more people. Do you think Karen Bass wakes up and looks in the mirror and considers herself a good mayor? There's no way. There's no way you can drive. I mean, what more do you need in your face but acres upon acres of neighborhoods that don't exist anymore? Like, how much more slap in the face do people in LA need to get? Does Karen Bass actually think that she deserves 4 more years to do what? What do you do? What have you done? Besides make things worse. Like, how did these people, how did they rest with themselves? And is that what's different between somebody who's good and somebody who's not? Is this really like the perennial fight, the war between good and evil? Because it feels more like it every day. I can't describe evil. I can't feel it. I can't reason with it. I couldn't do it. You couldn't pay me enough. You couldn't. And yet it's all around us, and I don't get it. So we started the program with some of the breaking story, the sound bites from this CIA whistleblower. His name is James Erdman. And he's the guy who reveals Anthony Fauci had influenced. He's the guy who influenced the COVID origins intelligence probe as part of a lab leak cover-up. So he knew damn well it was from a lab. And he inserted himself into the intelligence community, into the CIA and the discussions of this. Something so sensitive, something so awful, something so unnecessary and deadly that hurt so many people. And Fauci was the one who purposefully planted the landmine of the wet market to blow up any kind of truth-telling about this. A CIA whistleblower appeared publicly for the first time this morning to testify to a Senate panel that Dr. Anthony Fauci improperly influenced intelligence analyses about the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic to downplay findings that it most likely resulted from a laboratory accident in China. Well, why would you do that? Because you were obviously the guy behind the virus. All right, what, can you did everybody out there get the same vibe as they were championing him as being like the new Messiah? The sexiest man alive. Oh, Anthony Fauci. CBS was on him like white on rice. They're like, oh, I love him. Do you guys remember the documentary? Brock, I know you do. It was the documentary and you and I listened to. It was him, Fauci, watching Joe Biden being sworn in. And he was like, oh my God. And he like wipes away a tear. And Brock and I looked at each other and we're like, what in the Sam hell is this? It was a production. It was theatrics. I'm so tired of being part of a screenplay that I never asked to be a part of. And yet here we are. And Fauci, what's the punishment? What's it going to be? So we had selected some audio before we got into this audio from the testimony this morning, but it's still germane. And I want you to hear it because Rand Paul, Senator Paul, who I am so frustrated by most times, he's like, look, hosting whistleblowers in the Senate today, we're going to blow the lid off the natural origins bullcrap that we all knew was bullcrap. He talks about legions of operatives in place since Obama and Biden, deep inside the CIA, who have refused to tell the truth. Everybody knows this was the moment that we knew definitively that it was Fauci's fingerprints. And lo and behold, no Democrats showed up to hear it. Let's listen.
You know, one of the things we've heard for years is that when the different intelligence agencies investigated this, some of them thought it came from nature, some of them thought it came from a lab. But what we're discovering, and what the whistleblower will tell us tomorrow, is that CIA scientists were convened in 2021 and asked this question, and they overwhelmingly, I think 5 out of 6, said that they thought it came from the lab, that it was a leak from the lab, but then higher-ups overruled them. In fact, the report was written at 2 a.m, and at 2 a.m, someone scribbled out no and ended up switching the report to say, instead of that it came from lab, that it came from nature. So this is, has been a problem through the years, and it makes a difference because if we look to the ultimate origins of this virus, we think it actually came from experiments that were funded by the United States. And the carelessness of Anthony Fauci and others who actually funded this gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China, in all likelihood led to this pandemic that 15 million people died, and still there hasn't been responsibility. So this whistleblower tomorrow is going to reveal things that happened at the CIA and the fact that some of the cover-up continues, that there are people within the swamp that is the CIA over there that are still motivated not to reveal this. And it's interesting because Congress voted unanimously to declassify all of this. And the whistleblower tomorrow will tell us that he's still having trouble and was having trouble with obstruction by, I think, career people at the CIA.
Who the hell are these career people at the CIA? John Radcliffe. I know he's not one of them. I don't think he's one of them. I've always liked John Radcliffe. I liked him when he was a congressman. I liked him when he was the director of national intelligence. I like him now as the CIA director, but where is he? Does he know? Who is it in the CIA who is John Brennan's operative? Who is this legion? What is this legion? Who are these people? How is Anthony Fauci able to pierce the CIA, overrule them, and create a completely different farcical narrative from which he could make millions and billions of dollars, and all these billionaires spawned out of big pharma? Josh Hawley's pissed. He was like, look, I'm the guy who wrote the law, who wrote the bill that said these people had to be transparent with us. I know they've lied to us. I know they've broken the law.
I understand that this CIA whistleblower is going to testify to, among other things, that the CIA and the government deliberately ignored the law that Congress passed. It was my bill that ordered the Biden administration to declassify everything, all the intelligence around the origins of COVID-19. And I'll tell you why I wrote that, Jesse, because I could see the intelligence reports. I had access to them. I knew that what the Biden administration was saying in public was not true. And they said, oh, well, there's confusion. We don't know. That's not what the intelligence report said. So we wrote the law ordering them to declassify. They didn't do it. I understand that the whistleblower is going to say that was deliberate. It was part of a cover-up, and I can't wait to hear what else he's got to say.
No one is above the law. Do I need to resuscitate the 9-minute mashup from Tom Elliott at Grabian, where it's every Democrat in the world finger-wagging Donald Trump, blaming him of trying to skirt the rules? Oh, yeah? You think it's okay to have sex with a woman against her will in a dressing room? Mm-mm. Oh, yeah? You think it's okay to overinflate the value of your business? Oh, yeah? You think it's all right to question us when we say that you lost that election? Oh, yeah? You think it's okay to go up against the deep state? Who are these people? Who's above the law? A lot of people, apparently. And Democrats don't care at all. They didn't even show up to find out. They don't care enough. They don't care enough. They're used to being protected. They're used to getting away with whatever they want. And same with the Tennessee Democrats, who just got booted from all of their committee assignments for acting like freaking lunatics, for conduct unbecoming, for parading around, standing on tables, lighting Confederate flags on fire, and dropping MFer to a state police trooper that is called Boy. None of this is okay. None of this gets found out without Donald Trump. None of this happens without you, which is why you are so, so hated. You extreme MAGA Republicans. You're a threat to democracy. I think you actually saved it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program. Speaking of highly contagious viruses, remember all those biolabs that they told us didn't exist? Oh, Tulsi Gabbard, dog on a bone. Let's find out next. Collagen might be the most important and least expensive thing you can take to fight the hands of time, period. I take it every day. 1 scoop of this. This is what it looks like. 1 scoop of 10-gram collagen peptides into my water bottle, where I'm already drinking the healthy fat. So not only am I not sitting here hungry and starving because of the healthy fat, while I'm sitting here gabbing with you, I am reversing, or at least resisting, the hands of time. Do it for your skin. So good for your skin, collagen is. So good for the appearance of wrinkles. Relax them, ease them, erase them a little bit. So good for your hair. Mine looks like a hot mess because I'm not allowed to cut it. But so great for all sorts of parts. Your cartilage, ligaments, joints, bones, everything soup to nuts, alpha to omega. This is something that's so cheap and easy and tasteless. You can put it in water. You can put it on your cereal. You could put it in yogurt or in your coffee and you won't notice it. 10 grams a day. That's what I'm doing. And I've been doing it for a couple months now. And I think I'm seeing the results. So if you want to join me and you want to drink what I'm drinking, and that doesn't say they have to, but I'm loving this. I'm telling you, collagen peptides from my friends at Native Path. How do you get it? Up to 45% off. Go to Get Native Path, getnativepath.com/Wendy. Collagen peptides. I'm telling you, I've had a half of a bag already. Keep filling this up. Brock and I both taking it. And I think it's important too, because we're both healing from going to a chiropractor and getting some work done. Mine is on my foot, his is on his back. And so if I can build up cartilage, if I can strengthen my bones and my joints and my ligaments, I'm all about it. GetNativePath.com/Wendy, up to 45% off. I drink it every day, and I will, as long as I can. Oh, see, he's shaking his. I think it's interesting, too, that people have been carved out of this administration, which I don't think is any kind of a sign of failure. I think you can identify people. I was curious about Marty McCary, FDA guy. He was big during COVID. He was big during a lot of stuff. And apparently the word on the street is he was, I don't know if this is true or not, but he was the guy who hid the COVID death numbers among kids, the vaccine death numbers, how dangerous it was. I guess that's the rub that I'm hearing online. I can't confirm that. I don't know. I'm not connected to that inner circle. But if he's the guy who sat on that data, then he needs to go and he needs to answer those questions. So we need a better FDA commissioner. Okay. Pam Bondi. I can't tell you at all about her intent, her allegiances, her connections with Susie Wiles, what she was doing or wasn't doing. She wasn't getting it done. Goodbye. And now we have Todd, what's his face, Blanche, who, from what I can see as an observer, just like you, kind of seems to be getting it done. Don't you think? Seems like it to me. We got all sorts of stuff moving in the works of the Department of Justice, calling stuff out, going after people, exposing them. What do you have? We got Kristi Noem. All right. Well, she was maybe effective until she started thinking that she was, a superstar and spent $100 on a ridiculous ad, allegedly, and then fibbed about it and said that the president said it was okay. Goodbye. Now we've got Markwayne Mullin. I'll take Markwayne Mullin any day. Straight shooter, badass, self-made man, self-made multi-millionaire. Didn't go to college.
It's an insider trade.
Made millions and then went to college. Yeah. I think this story is very interesting. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. I really wonder how the mainstream media is going to report on this CIA whistleblower, if they do at all. Do you really see MS Now or CNN or any of the networks breathlessly covering this? Are they going to report that the Democrats just decided to no-show, that even though they're on the clock, we really can't be bothered by this? The Democrats can't be bothered by much, except ripping us off. Well, this is interesting. This is a headline that caught my attention and Brock's. From the New York Post, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard probes U.S. funding to more than 120 biolabs abroad. Do you remember how we asked questions of this? Remember when the Ukraine war started? Literally day one. And there's a reporter in Ukraine, right on the border of Russia. And all the smoke coming from behind them from the burn pits. Remember? And we kind of made fun. We're like, oh, they're burning all of Hunter Biden's metabiota data. Bet you they were. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is investigating more than 120 biological laboratories abroad that have been funded by U.S. taxpayer dollars for decades. What the hell are we doing? Why aren't you ever allowed to know? And who's the CIA grand dictator? Who's the person in there? Who's determining what we're allowed to know and what not? It's part of an effort to end potentially risky experiments with viruses, kind of timely, pursuant to President Trump's executive order on so-called gain-of-function research. She told the Post on Monday, New York Post, in a statement that her team is going to identify where these labs are, what pathogens they contain, and what, quote, research is being conducted to end dangerous gain-of-function research that threatens the health and well-being of the American people and the world. I mean, like, other than that, what are you doing? Well, I'm kind of, I got nothing going on. I'm going to go find out all these biolabs, what the hell they're doing. Remember when they told us those don't exist? Biolabs? Shut up. You're probably a COVID denier. Flat earther, right? You probably believe in the election was stolen. Weirdo. Anybody that the deep state goes after, I'm all about. I'm eggs in that basket. The COVID-19 pandemic revealed the catastrophic global impact that research on dangerous pathogens in biolabs can have, the spy chief said. Yet despite these obvious dangers, politicians, so-called health professionals like Dr. Fauci, dirtbag, and entities within the Biden administration's national security team lied to the American people about the existence of these U.S.-funded and supported biolabs and threatened those who attempted to expose the truth. I remember being very interested when Vladimir Putin said he was interested in getting to the bottom of what was going on with the Nazis, the biolabs that were so close to Russia. And the American government was like, what? What biolabs? So not true. And then Victoria Nuland, right, that hack, she was like, yeah, there's totally biolabs. Yeah, and we're worried that Putin and the Russians are going to get into them and find out some secrets. Oh, really? What kind of secrets? Do you think she's actually going to investigate Metabiota as well? Do you guys remember that? Because I do. I remember all about this, the connection to the Biden crime family syndicate. So Metabiota, this is what Hunter Biden's Rosemont Seneca LLC invested 14% in. It's a San Francisco pathogen research data company that purportedly compiles data, global disease data, to, quote, predict outbreaks. And, oh, by the way, partnered with USAID. And Hunter Biden and his Rosemont Seneca invested in it? Is that why the Russian Defense Ministry in March of 2022 said Hunter Biden's fund sponsored a military biological program and called them bioweapons labs? Did the Biden crime family syndicate cash in on that? I never talked to my son about his overseas business dealings. And then Hunter went over to the Burisma clowns in Ukraine who were paying him $1 million a year with no natural gas experience. Just because he's super duper. He's a great lawyer and a superhuman being. And he was like, dudes, Burisma guys, I've got this great offer, right? Here's what's going to happen. I have no idea. I'm making this up. I'm doing an Adam Schiff dreamscape, but you can see it, right? What I told you about Rosemont Seneca and about Metabiota is all over those Ukraine, Russia border biolabs. What are they working on? And Putin was annoyed because it's like downwind of these labs is Russia. And he's like, well, what kind of crap is floating out of your whack job labs? What's there? And that was part of his reasoning, right? For the whole invasion of Ukraine. It was much deeper than that. But I don't think Vladimir Putin, I'm not here on his side. I'm not here saying he's a good guy. But he said stuff. He knows stuff. And Victoria Nuland confirmed stuff. And the deep state was like, no, that's not going on at all. He's a bad guy. Vladimir Putin, bad guy. Let's just send a lot of money to Ukraine, of which, 1/3 of it disappeared? I mean, like, what isn't a grift? What isn't? Making a virus, releasing it on the world, whether it by accident or what have you, foisted upon all of us this emergency use where you couldn't get ivermectin, right? You couldn't. That's horse paste. Don't be a horse. Use your brain. Does it all connect? Everything makes sense now that everybody out there sucks. I know they do. Except me. I tell you the truth. And I'm just a mom. It's not that complicated. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, speaking of all of this stuff, is the CIA also keeping the truth about the UFO files from President Trump and the American people? Yeah. next. All right, GLP-1. I actually had 2 people ask me about this in the last 2 days. 2 people. They're like,
You
what's
tell them
that?
/Wendy.
They're like, what's that thing that you talk about? And does it really work? And I'm like, first of all, I can't tell you because I haven't used this GLP-1 Gold, which is the big weight loss product from Juvenon. I'm like, I use Blood Flow 7. I swear by it. But when you trust a company and they develop products that you use consistently, that consistently do what they're supposed to do, and they're easy to get, and they don't mislead you, and it works, then you could say, okay, this is what that same company offers for people who have a lot of weight to lose. So let's think 30 pounds or more. What's a lot, Brock? I mean, it depends, but
I'd say 30 pounds is a lot.
30 pounds is a lot. I know my husband wants to lose, Joe wants to lose 30 pounds. He wants to lose 30 pounds before whatever, end of August, right? And so he's chipping away at it. He's trying to do this, and it's a lot. This is one of those things that can really help you. GLP-1 Gold from our friends at Juvenon, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Unlike the shots, this doesn't have unknown side effects because it's not some unknown pharmaceutical product or a pharmaceutical product that you have to inject in your body that hasn't been around long enough for us to know what it does. This talks to your body and actually naturally talks to your hormone, GLP-1. It says, hey, you need to fire up a little bit more quickly because you're eating too much. And when you take it consistently, you eat less because it quiets that signal. And then all of a sudden your body is like, okay, I don't have to eat so much. I'm good. And you lose weight, significant weight. If you're on that weird area where you can't seem to move the needle on your scale and you're tired of plateauing, go to bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Try it for a month. It's going to be about $1 a day. It's a pretty good deal. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Where you go? Twice? In like an hour? $238. We at least need to get 2.5. We at least need to get to 2.5. This Fauci stuff's going to get interesting. This whistleblower, the CIA came out, said this is all political theater. Like anyone's going to believe a statement from the CIA. At this point, what government agency, if they put out a statement, would you be like, oh, yeah, I believe that, especially the CIA. Their whole reason for existence is to manipulate. Do I really care about their statement?
Huh?
I was saying the CIA put out a statement basically saying this is just political theater.
What is?
The whistleblower. I said, who's going to believe a statement from the CIA?
You have no credibility.
Yeah, they're trained to lie. That's literally all they do.
John Brennan stole any credibility that you might have had left when he told Nicole Wallace to not freak out because there are plenty of people still inside the CIA, they're operatives who will, stop any kind of true
we're on this
honesty. I have a shark right here. Oh, okay, whatever. How you doing?
You got a rogue
Do I?
out the back. Oh, wow, you made it worse.
No, I don't. Oh, this. What the hell's that? Out the
Accept
back.
your apology.
Well, that's not the back. That's the top.
Oh, that looks better. Like I said, you made it
I
worse.
can't help it.
We're out of time.
No, I'm going to try to cover it.
To the person watching, don't make me go nuclear.
Did you say nuclear?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
why?
You want to play Balake?
Who
do you?
Is somebody fiddling with you?
Yeah.
Who?
Demanda.
I don't know.
You want to play Balake?
Oh. Oh God. Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry. You have to say, is it bad?
I didn't say that.
Yes, but I mean.
Oh, we're out of time. There goes the views. Rumble if you like Wendy's hair.
Know who's in charge. Who do you guys think it is? Is it a group? Is it some like ball of mush under a glass that's like pulsing and little electrons are going off and that's the I don't know. I don't know. Is it Barack Obama? Is it Barack Obama's handler? Is it like Lord Voldemort? You should not be named. Like I don't know. But it's wrong. We have a system of laws in this country. And they tell us over and over again, nobody is above the law. And there's not multiple ways people are treated in this country. It's all supposed to be the same, except when it comes to sports, in which case men can pretend they're chicks and beat them. That sounds fair, right? We're going to do that a little bit. None of it makes sense, you guys. It's not supposed to make sense. This is why they loved COVID. There was something for us to be worried about. Oh my God. And then they just kind of squeezed it. And I used to think that it was all about stealing the 2020 election. I think it was just something that happened. And they were like, oh, snap. This is a great opportunity. And they were chomping at their bit. And they were salivating over the thought of freaking the liver out of you so that they could steal an election. Because there was no way they were going to win, period. And there's no way that Joe Biden got 81 million votes. I mean, it's just so dumb. It's like looking at the burned Pacific Palisades and saying Karen Bass deserves 4 more years, right? It's like any of this. It's like looking and listening to anything that Anthony Fauci has done and the damage that is done to actual science. So now you have millions of skeptics about everything. And I guess that's how the pendulum has to swing. Because when you don't pay attention for so long, and I'm guilty, I'm speaking about me. I'm not talking about you. I didn't pay attention. I was busy. I had a husband who's a doctor who can't do a whole lot at home. So I'm everything to everybody. I have 5 kids. I had a job. I had 2 jobs. I was busy. It's a great excuse. But I don't have that excuse anymore. I woke up. And once you wake up, and mine was Palm Sunday, 2020. Once you wake up, you can't roll over and fall back asleep. And so when are we going to demand this booga, 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 whatever it is, whatever the puppeteer, whoever that person is, or whatever that group is, That's wrong. We have a president. There's not supposed to be a level above the president. And yet that's how they're operating. And they're doing this with the FBI, with the UFO files. Like, call them UAPs all you want. Shut up. They're UFOs, okay? And they're extraterrestrials or aliens, whatever they are. These UFO, they're holding this information from the president of the United States. Whomever is in charge is running this show. That is unacceptable. I didn't elect them. And because of that, because of this running roughshod on whatever we want, whatever this deep state monolith monster is, we find ourselves in all of these crappy predicaments that we're in. Well, I want you to hear Rob Finnerty last night. Because I wonder, is the CIA, or whomever this legion of operatives that John Brennan told Nicole Wallace about yesterday, who's like, don't worry about it. We still got a lot of people in there in the Department of Justice. They'll run interference for us. They'll stymie this president's agenda. They'll do whatever needs to be done. And we're like, what? And so he has on his program yesterday, Dr. Stephen Greer, UFO researcher. Dude's dedicated his life, ditched a physician emergency room doctor job for this, right? Has faced death threats, endless ridicule, right? All of this stuff. And yet it's so funny because everything that he talks about is coming out, coming true. And Rob Finnerty he's not impressed by the UFO drop so far. He's not impressed with grainy video and things that we already expected. It's not like, wow. And he's like, this is annoying. Are you annoyed, doctor? Listen.
So I'm going to be honest. I was disappointed on Friday with this UFO disclosure. Even the new name bothers me, how we now have to call them UAPs and not UFOs anymore. Like, guys, the name was fine. Just like they are still homeless people. They're not the unhoused. Democrats want us to call them the unhoused. They're homeless, okay? They don't have homes. They're homeless. On Friday, I realized that they are going to continue jerking us around until we stop asking questions, or until there's a new president. On Friday, we got 160 files, 28 videos, and 14 really blurry photographs, all bad videos that could be anything. In one account, here was a quote from Buzz Aldrin describing something he saw out of the spacecraft when he was on the moon, a, quote, fairly bright light source from Buzz Aldrin. That's what he said. They released that. Like, wow, great. But while all that was happening on Friday, on the same day, all that was being released, our next guest said this just down the street from the White House at the National Press Club.
The problem is, and this I want to be clear about, there are two governments. There's the government you know about, we elect and appoint. There's a shadow or secret government that is actually running this. And that is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. We can prove it.
Okay, that is Dr. Stephen Greer, founder of the Disclosure Project, 25 years running now. Dr. Greer, great to have you back. So basically, you are saying that Donald Trump does not have all the information that he should have. Is that correct?
He has a great deal more than what was released, but he doesn't have all of it. And it's because of the compartmented nature in an illegal covert program that happened in the 1950s. We've been saying this for 30 years. So what I understand, he's going to release more in various tranches every few weeks. But we're still working to be sure that he can penetrate these compartmented operations more fully. So I have a team of people working with them, but I think people should not think that the president can wave a magic wand and everything comes out.
This information is being comparted, whatever he said, and being held from the president. Is that the same group of people who withheld from this oversight backpaction back in 2023? When Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna started this whole government secret task force, they are the co-chairs of, ostensibly. They were locked out of this skiff containing top secret UFO evidence. I remember Anna Paulina Luna was fit to be tied, and Tim Burchett looked almost rabid. He was so upset. Remember this? Remember.
We were denied access to the skiff, and so to my knowledge, what's going to happen now is not only do we have the support of the chairman, but they're going to get a nice letter from Congress. And as you heard, Representative Ogle said, if we're denied, we're going to use the Holman rule and we'll defund the position.
And I was told by leadership that it was blocked by the intelligence community, not the intelligence committee, but the intelligence community. And that is a very chilling effect. If someone can reach through the veil of government and pierce it to the point of we do not have access to something, you got to start asking yourself who the hell's in control. And I think it'd be wise for you all to start looking at some financial disclosures of some of those corporations, some of the people who do the stonewalling in this town. And that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start talking to people. We're going to start naming names. I want you to think about this. Think about this, that something with the capabilities of traveling light years, not showing a heat signature, and the energy capabilities of that would put the Pentagon out of business. We wouldn't be fighting these worthless wars overseas over oil, and American boys and girls wouldn't be dying. It would put the war pigs out of business, and they'd have to go somewhere else, and I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
So that was 3 years ago, well before Iran, but he was absolutely right. Right? And Anna Paulina Luna says they're going to get a letter from Congress. Well, how'd that work out for you? Your letters don't mean squat. Ron Johnson learned that this morning. He's fit to be tied to on this Senate panel, looking into all of this CIA whistleblower stuff. Back to UFO expert Dr. Stephen Greer, who drops this bombshell, saying that top administrators in the intelligence agencies are being blackmailed with Epstein videos, which he claims is preventing the real UFO files from being released. Say what?
Let me ask you this. Who's in charge of this other government that doesn't answer to Donald Trump?
Well, there are various corporations and then compartmented operations within CIA, the alphabet soup of agencies, and DOW that run these programs. But they're very highly compartmented. And the other problem is that there are people currently in top administrative posts in the intelligence community that are, quite frankly, being blackmailed, one of them with Epstein file videos. And so we're not going to getting a lot of cooperation from those quarters because they're terrified to go into prison. So I think this is a much more complicated problem than we have time to unpack here.
Or they're terrified of getting killed, Dr. Greer. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that yourself, by the way?
Of course.
13 scientists, doctors have been murdered or missing.
Yep.
Or, have you thought about that?
Of course. I've dealt with this since the 90s, and I have had people on my team assassinated, to be frank. And so, yes, I mean, it's something, of course, in my family and I are aware of.
There's no connection between any of the dead scientists or missing researchers. It's just a super, super big coincidence. Right. They can't kill all of us. But that's what I was thinking this morning when the CIA whistleblower testified. It would take very little to off anybody, as they've proven. That is so disgusting. It is so disgusting. And Tim Burchett then, back on the farm this morning, said this, or yesterday, said the same stonewalling on the UFO files. This is exactly what's happening with the Save America Act. And deep state rhinos who hate the president will ultimately pass it at some point when it's too late to have an impact, sort of like the Supreme Court did with the dissent on the Calais case.
People are asking me about what's going on with the Save America Act. Well, the Senate, of course, is dragging their feet. The House has passed it twice. I've got a sneaking suspicion that they'll probably attempt to pass it or pass it so late in the dadgum game that it can't get implemented. And then they can go home and say, oh, look, we passed it, and everybody will be celebrating, patting them on the back. And then it just cannot get implemented at the state and local level in time for it to have any effect in these elections. And ultimately, I think that's what you've got. And I'm afraid in the Senate leadership, they have such a hatred of Trump and the conservative movement. They want things to go back to the status quo, which is them being called from the golf course by the Democrats when it's time to make a vote. And they do the obligatory, oh, we don't like what they're doing. And they get their crumbs off the side of the table and for their districts, and they go home and get reelected. And I'm afraid that's exactly what they're up to. And it's disgusting. And at some point, we're going to say enough is enough. And we're going to start electing people with some guts.
I think we already have. And it needs to happen faster. 100%. We are just at the very cusp of our awakening. It's the infancy of it. And that's what they're afraid of. When we come back, 61 years ago, Paul Harvey dropped a classic. It was so great. It's even greater today, 6 decades later. You'll hear it if I were the devil next. You guys remember this. And you know what? Brock heard it this morning and he's like, it's so applicable to everything we're doing right now. Like all of this. And I agree with him. I agree. More Gains Fitness. This is the last thing I have to tell you all about. And this is, it's a wonderful offer. If you want to lose weight, you want to learn how to exercise, you want to get some core strength back, you'd like to lose some pounds, you'd like to lose some inches, you'd like to maybe tighten up your core muscles, because once that area in your abs are tighter, you have less opportunity to hurt your back when you do stuff. Core strength is giant for overall back health. And if you want to do these things without ever stepping into a gym, because 1, it's not convenient, or 2, you've never really done that before and you don't really need to be looked at and you don't need to figure out all the machines. That's okay, because Kelly Morgan has a program for you that involves really not even leaving your house if you don't want to. And it's called 90 Ignite. And the 90 comes from, you give her 3 months, 90 days, and she'll ignite in you a body transformation that you have to see photographs to believe. And I've shown you some of them. I hope she sends more, because I'm ready to print out more before and after shots. 3 months, you can lose 5, 10 inches, 15 inches. Think about that. You can lose 5, 10 pounds of fat. You can gain pounds of muscle, and you can fundamentally transform everything about your body. 3 months. Beyond that, you get it, and you get the track. You have the tools then, right? It's all done on video, online. 90 Ignite. MoreGainsFitness.com. MORGAINZ Fitness.com. Let's see. Yes.
248.
Yeah, it's not a great showing.
Mm-mm.
Beggars can't be choosers. Huh?
We showed up. Where are they at? Where are they?
Wow.
Yeah, I said it.
Pretty amazing there. Two soccer games to go, guys. Tonight is one, and then Sunday's it. And then that's it. My children and their days of playing sports are officially over.
You have one Sunday.
But both Bob and Chris are now done with they're done with high school. Ryan is done with sophomore year of college, and he's on his way home. Hi, Rye, if you're listening.
Sophomore?
He's done with sophomore. He'll be a junior. What, you thought he was a junior?
Yeah.
I don't need you to push that along for me.
Well, wow. I wasn't pushing.
Has anybody ever gotten frozen lobster tails from Sam's Club? They look good.
With snot in them?
No. They look good, and they're only like $25 or $30 for 4 of them. Brock.
I guess I know where I'm not having dinner tonight. No surf and turf for me.
I didn't say I was making it. I was asking if anybody's had them. And how can you screw up a lobster tail? Right? 30
Go to Woolies and get them live.
Why would I want to do that?
And then name them and then throw them in the pot.
Why would I ever want to do that?
What? Because it's fantastic.
You've never done it?
Yeah, I have.
Really?
Someone
And he was like, ooh. Oh,
So-
see? Timely, though, 61-year-old message to you. Brock, what was it about this that made you want to share it with me? I mean, it's very rare that he sends me something and he's like, I really think that this is what we need to do. And you did that with this. Why?
I think it just sums everything up, and it's not new. As much as we think all the problems this country has right now, it's not a new problem. It's a continuous problem. The playbook hasn't changed, and they're continuing to use the same playbook year in and year out, and we still have Americans falling for the same crap. So I don't know, 60 years later, and it's still as relevant today as it was the day he did it.
April 3rd, 1965, 5 years and 1 day before I was born. And man, were there no truer words said than Paul Harvey's classic, If I Were the Devil.
If I were the devil. If I were the devil. If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. Thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? 1965. And to Brock's point, he's right. It's not like all of a sudden you and I are awakening to this new problem. The problem's old. What's new is our knowledge of it. And maybe it took a virus for you or a shot. Maybe it took a boy beating the snot out of your daughter in sports. Maybe it took a lie from someone that you once trusted. But for whatever reason, you are awake. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Peace.